Welcome to Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio. On today's show, how will we judge the Jawaan Taylor signing? When will we get word on JuJu Smith-Schuster? And Mizzou moves quickly on a Dennis Gates contract extension. Now, 2-1 around the league is throwing around money, and they don't get me. Cody Tapp and Alex Gold.
I assume you do, though. I assume you do because you, after all, you're the agent of the show.
I know you liked that one. You let out a little brief chuckle there before I done. Very unprofessional, but you know what? It was supernatural, so I liked it.
Well done, Nick. And
he gives that one a good solid A- for the intro. Your best one.
You know why it was good? It was there's humor involved, and it was short. It was straight to the point, and you got out.
Topical.
Wait, you think I go too long on some of them?
This one was short and sweet.
That is a yes.
I don't think it's the length that bothers you. It's the sometimes the content that makes you a little uncomfortable.
It was smooth, man. It was smooth.
Does sex make you uncomfortable?
No, I mean, you guys have heard me say it, you know? You guys have heard me say it. Show that, I mean, it's not something.
On
you
the
like
table.
Sex?
If there's one guy on this show who likes sex, it's you, Alex.
That's right. Right. If there's anybody that gets uncomfortable by it, it's actually Cody, because he turns bright red usually when this happens.
That's just
he turning a little red.
I'm not embarrassed by it. It's just
some metrics, Gold. He's the most experienced of the group.
I mean,
and you've had sex to the point of.
Go ahead, keep going.
What's the end of this?
Keep going.
The production of children.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I mean,
is that like winning?
You
having that?
Say that's losing. It just depends. It just depends on where you're at.
No, Cody wouldn't say that though.
No,
he would.
In his instance.
Well, I mean, he has a sister,
and he's like, no, I don't want to have sex anymore.
That's what he said. Text line: Cody and Gold should teach middle school sex ed.
Oh,
no, he
dude.
should not. No, he should not. You get fired in 2 seconds.
Fired seconds?
Fired in 2 seconds.
Well, you know the in and out.
You get fired in 2 seconds, though, because some of the comments that would be made, jokes that would be made.
I think we do a fun job.
I actually think we would thrive in that setting.
Only one way to find it. Little middle school to let us teach sex ed.
That could actually be your in to running for school board, if that's still a dream that's alive.
Yeah, you know what? I've actually already seen some signs up for people who are running next year, which is a bit concerning. Didn't know if I needed to get my signs up that early.
Yeah, why is it?
Didn't realize I needed to.
Why is it concerning?
Because that's at the end of the year. I didn't realize I needed to be on top of it quite as soon.
Well, you shouldn't be. You should. It should think about if you're serious about running.
I'm going to need to get on top of that.
The fact that you're waiting for other people to run their campaigns to be like, maybe I should start mine now.
I just kind of thought maybe it'd be like a post-July situation.
Post 4th of July? That's way too late, man. You got to start this campaign early.
You can't come in at the 11th hour.
I think it's like mayor.
You're not taking it seriously enough. That's fine.
Yeah,
that
tells
more
me,
dedicated.
Tells me everything I need to know about your candidacy.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see how seriously they take it. Do we have to let the other people running for school board appear on this show? Is that to qualify for?
Yep.
Wait, does that qualify for school board?
You have to have equal
or
time.
Is that just like higher level political offices?
Political races, you got to have equal time. I don't know 100% if it's for every office, but let's just go ahead and say it is. Yeah. Equal time.
So we're allowing my competition on this show.
That's right. If you are running for school board, which you've been teasing it for about a year or so, at some point you got to strike while the iron's hot. At some point it's like being an assistant in the NFL. If your name mentioned, don't take an opportunity, pretty soon nobody's going to care. So you got about a year left. Otherwise,
ebbs and flows,
you're
man.
out. You're going to have to move to a new city, a new school district.
A new school district just to run?
Because people won't want you to be part of the school board.
That's right. You were the hot name a year ago.
Not so much anymore.
Where's the buzz? I don't feel the buzz around Bancroft Tap this year.
Bancroft 2023.
You think I should run as Bancroft Tap?
Yes.
Obviously.
It sounds way more sophisticated in terms of being a school board president. Tap, no. Bancroft.
Am I going to vote for a guy named Cody?
It's not a serious name.
Am I going to vote for a guy named Bancroft? It's like, okay, well, that sounds like a fine gentleman.
That
sounds like a guy who may have some ideas.
Cody is not a serious name. It's not a person. That's not a name of a person you take seriously.
All the signage, all the little signs on the side of the road will say Bancroft. And that helps you because they won't know that you're actually the guy that's on the radio.
Separate this personality from that personality?
As we've described, that may not be the best thing. So anyway, we'll check back in on that. We'll also later on in the show talk about one thing you believe will last a little bit longer in Kansas City than elsewhere. But Jawaan Taylor, and toward the final half of the show yesterday, the news came out about Jawaan Taylor signing a deal with Kansas City. We had no more specifics about the contract. Yes, for $80 million, but the way it shapes up is nice for Kansas City for this upcoming year. But if you go and look at Brett Veach's track record, this is tied for the third biggest contract he's ever handed out as general manager of Kansas City. We know the biggest, of course, that would be Patrick Mahomes and his 10-year, $450 million contract. Then you got to look at a Frank Clark contract in that trade, 5 years, 104. After that, the Chris Jones deal that he's now trying to get a new deal on, but it was 4 for $80. This is 4 for $80 as well. Joe Thuney signed a 5-year, $80 million contract a couple years ago with Kansas City. So this is tied for the third biggest contract that Brett Veach has handed out. Like that should not be understated, considering what you normally look at as risk involved in big money contracts. But the beautiful thing is, I think on the surface you might think it's risky. How it's broken up, they have multiple ways to get out of this thing pretty early.
I think they are, and they've got what? They could get out after year 2, but it would be kind of expensive. And they can definitely get after year 3, and it costs you almost nothing. And the year 2 expensive would be like the normal amount of dead money almost any team would accept to get out of a contract that they didn't like. So sure, they gave themselves an out. But we are going to have to judge this contract like those. We treat mega contracts way differently. We talked about them when they signed Chris Jones, when they signed Joe Thuney. Certainly if they had signed Orlando Brown Jr., massive contracts like this come with very big risks because you just don't know which version of the player you're going to get. And if you're going to pay somebody like the 4th highest paid member of your team's history or 3rd highest paid member in your team's history, then I'm going to expect that level of production. So far, out of the 3 richest contracts, they're getting anything and everything they want out of the Patrick Mahomes deal. That one looks like a steal. Every day we've talked about how much better that contract looks. It's incredible. The Chris Jones contract, nobody's going to tell you they haven't gotten their value out of his deal that was 4 for $80 million. And the Frank Clark one, we admit, comes with a little bit of a mixed conversation. If you say, did the deal work, you have to say yes because they won 2 Super Bowls. If you say, did you get the full maximum regular season value of the Frank Clark deal, the answer is probably no. Good news for you. You played in a lot of postseasons. You won 2 Super Bowls, so it starts to feel like a wash. Jawaan Taylor is going to be judged by that same metric. If you got to get top-end offensive line play because of how good the rest of the offensive line is. They were a top 5 offensive line last year. If you're going to pay him like one of the highest paid players in your team's history, they need to be a top 5 offensive line again.
I would argue they were a top 5 offensive line, top 10 offensive line this past season.
That's what I said.
As a whole.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would argue. So you said that you'd be that again. Like, I guess I'm expecting it to not have that that much of a drop off whatsoever.
But I'm saying that's important if you're going to pay him that amount of money.
Yeah, but it's like it's not to me. It's not directly. I know how we'll attach Orlando Jr. and Jawaan Taylor together, but it's not as simple as, hey, is Jawaan Taylor playing at the same level as Orlando Brown Jr.? Jawaan Taylor could play slightly worse than Orlando Brown Jr., and whenever we find out what the Orlando Brown Jr. contract is in another city with another organization, if it is significantly more, that also is a huge part of the conversation. It's not as simple as, like, the Chiefs weren't trying necessarily to upgrade from Orlando Brown Jr. per se. They're trying to find someone that gives you very similar play, maybe has potential to grow from that, but also is team-friendly or than what the deal Orlando Brown Jr. is going to sign. It's not as simple as just the performance, because I think if we're just judging the Jawaan Taylor versus Orlando Brown Jr.'s contracts, and we're just judging it off of how they perform solely, then I think I'd actually be disappointed in it. Because there's a chance that we're going to be sitting here in the middle of next season and say, wow, there's some struggles maybe at times early on for Jawaan Taylor.
I'll take it as a unit.
But it's the contract that also makes it better. You don't even have to have the exact same level of play Orlando Brown Jr. got you. You don't want to have much of a fall off. But if it's a tad bit worse, but you're not paying him, again, we don't know the number yet for Brown, let's say $23 or $24 million a year, then that still means it was, to me, the correct decision.
I understand, like, I understand the lack of drop off, or we're paying a little bit less, or you're moving a guy from attrition, again, part of the conversation. because that does exist, but, I mean, you're paying him the fourth richest or third richest contract in your team's history. When you pay that...
and Brett Veach's history.
And Brett Veach's history. You need some sort of... You need level competitive to that number. Now, I'll say this. When you look at like an across the board, we are starting to get, once again, every time we do these, another pattern emerging here. Brett Veach seems like he really likes to fall in that sweet spot of 4 for 80, doesn't he? Chris Jones deal, Tooney's was close to that. Oh, whoops, there comes Jawaan Taylor's, which is also right in that number. Like, that seems to be the Brett Veach sweet spot, which really means I'll give you 4 years, give you 2 years to figure it out. We'll leave after 3 if it's a problem, and if it works out, like in Frank Clark's case, maybe you won't make it to year 5, but we got 4 solid years out of you. That's as far down the road as we're willing to go, except Mahomes. He can have a 30-year deal, and we don't care. As many years as he wants on the deal, we're fine with. But everyone else, because he offered Orlando Brown a 6-year contract, but we know that everyone said that was essentially a 4-year contract on paper that they could get out on after, 3? So, I mean, it's a similar pattern. He doesn't want to get locked up with anybody for more than 3 years, that they have to have that player.
Yeah, this contract has its ability to get out early as well. Jawaan Taylor, if you look at even just this particular season, what I love is it doesn't change the rest of what they can try to accomplish this offseason. The base salary for Jawaan Taylor's deal this upcoming season is only $1.08 million, and yeah, there's some bonuses attached to that.
Yeah, he could make quite a bit more than that, but the
salary cap. I'm talking about strictly cap. Base salary of 1.08, not 1.8, 1.08. It's not even $2 million base. So whatever we thought they needed to still do, we'll talk about JuJu Smith-Schuster. Like this deal doesn't change that at all. Like the flexibility for what they want to try to accomplish is still there. We also know in their back pocket to help them out if they want to do it, they still have the ability to convert some of Mahomes' deal if they want to save more room. The Chris Jones deal, whenever that happens, that potentially could save them some money on the front end if they want to structure it that way. Like, they're still in really good shape. They handed out a 4-year, $80 million contract, and for this upcoming year's cap number, it really didn't change anything. That's beautiful, man. Like, that's why let's keep an eye on JuJu Smith-Schuster today. Maybe there's finally going to be some movement because Jakobi Meyers reportedly signed a 3-year, $33 million deal with $21 million guaranteed with the Las Vegas Raiders. So the Raiders really just going all in with Josh McDaniels and the Patriots. Jimmy G ties there, and now Jakobi Meyers. So
surely
Myers
that
and
will
Renfro.
work.
They'll have Adams, Myers, and Renfro. Not a terrible wide receiver core, by the way. It really isn't, but it's still Jimmy Garoppolo and the Las Vegas Raiders with that terrible defense. But now are we going to see some – because it's been quiet on the wide receiver front. There's reports that Allen Lazard may be nearing a deal with the Jets. You start putting 2 and 2 together, Cody. One, it means that JuJu will clearly be the best wide receiver available right now if these 2 deals go down.
Yeah, because if Myers and Lazard are done.
And then the other part is, okay, if Myers is looking at 3 for 33, that's very similar to the deal that MVS signed the Chiefs. It was 3 for 30 with $15 million guaranteed. That's what MVS signed for. Myers is 3 for 33, more guaranteed money. What's JuJu? I mean, is JuJu going to be lower than you and I thought? Is it going to be 3 years for 38?
Yeah, we were off. I mean, this very simply is, I guess I should have listened to the Spot Track guys who know a lot about these contracts. It doesn't make any sense to me based on the recent contracts wide receivers signed, but this is fantastic news.
If you're trying to keep JuJu,
you want to keep JuJu Smith-Schuster, the market has been set low, really low. $11 million, that's it. And I think the thing I'm starting to realize is Albert Breer has made a really good this morning over on Twitter. I think right. This is a speed wide receiver thing. Jakobi Meyers has had 3 seasons more productive season ever from MVS. So he's a more productive wide receiver, more consistently across the board. He's also just as young, right? So he's got upside, right? Just the same as you could say with MVS. And they're getting paid the same amount of money. Why? Because Myers is slow. And slow by NFL standards, but he's not a speedster, right? He's not the stretch the field, make everything happen guy. That also happens to be what JuJu Smith-Schuster is. So, for as much as all the wide receiver numbers have taken a huge jump up, they aren't currently for slower possession wide receivers, which means JuJu Smith-Schuster's deal might come in 3 for 40, 3 for 36.
It'll be really interesting to see how
3 for 45 max, and that feels way high at this point. So, JuJu Smith-Schuster seems like there's no reason not to sign him because his contract's not going to come in that high.
Yeah, I mean, the way the numbers are trending, it is great news. And to me, I agree with you. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to make that deal work if you're Kansas City. Unless you just flat out think
Don't
there's
want him back.
Yeah, you just flat out, which it doesn't make any sense. He was a great fit for you. It's not like it was a disappointing first year in Kansas City. He did everything you could have asked for. Unfortunately, missed a couple games with the concussion. But other than that, he did what you were hoping and more. He was nearly a 1,000-yard receiver for you. So if you can get him on a 3-year deal and it's going to be watered down in terms of the dollar amount, then I think it's a no-brainer. Over on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7610, someone says, JuJu isn't better than Odell. Just stop, I guess, because made the comment that he'd be the best available wide receiver after Al Lazard.
He doesn't have two reconstructed ACLs.
Beckham Jr. didn't play all of last season. Odell Beckham Jr. is on the wrong side of 30. So, yeah, actually, I would take JuJu over Odell Beckham Jr. We're not talking about their entire career. We're not talking about Odell Beckham at 23 years old. Obviously, I would take Odell Beckham Jr. at 23 years old. I'm not,
but also, I take JuJu Smith-Schuster at 23 years old when he had 1,400 yards.
So, yeah, I don't think that's inaccurate to say. If you want to go ahead and take Odell with 2 torn ACLs in his career, go for it.
There is an infatuation with Odell Beckham Jr. that I'm still confused by.
I still would like him in Kansas City on a 1-year deal, but I'll take JuJu first, please.
He's a more reliable option at this point. He's played more consistently. JuJu's had his share of injuries over the last couple of years. It's not like Odell, probably talent-wise in the early part of their career, you would take Odell Beckham Jr. across the board. His first 3 years in the NFL were 3 of the greatest seasons. That was one of the greatest starts in NFL history at wide receiver. But since then, he's had what? He hasn't had a 1,000-yard season since 2019. So it's like you just got to get him healthy. It's not like there isn't value, but what's he going to get, right? Like his price tag's probably not much better than that. Do you want to get up locked up? Like if it were, let's say it were the same, would you do 3 for 33 for Odell with $21 million guaranteed? No. Could you feel comfortable that a 30-year-old wide receiver for a 3-year deal? No, I'd rather give it to JuJu, who's still under 30 years old, already knows the offense, already fits the scheme. If the money is created equal, at this point, I'd rather have JuJu Smith-Schuster. And Jacoby Myers' deal is setting a pretty low figure on it. It makes me feel like the price tags for wide receiver, if you're in the market this year, are going to be pretty cheap. Bad news is there aren't that many good wide receivers to be had. We talked about that in the free agent pool. I just figured the whole supply and demand thing was going to jack those numbers up. And instead, it hasn't. It's not the type of receiver people want to pay, it turns out.
We'll get back into the Chiefs and particularly the AFC West. As we mentioned, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Myers signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll get to that coming up in so. It is rule change season in the NFL. We know last year the big proposal from Buffalo was changing the overtime rules because they were upset with how that, of course, impacted them and the whole 13-second drive going to overtime. Well, now there's a team in the AFC West, the LA Chargers, who submitted a proposal that's clearly geared towards them, which is fine. So? It's actually one, though, that makes a lot of sense. So here it is. The Chargers submitted a proposal where wildcard teams would be seated higher than division champs if the wildcard team has 4 or more wins than a division champ who's below 500. So it's very specific criteria. It's, let's say, the NFC South team, like this past year, is a division winner that wins 8 games, let's say. And you're a wildcard team that has 12 wins. That wildcard team would actually be a higher seed than the division winner. Now, with that logic, does that mean the division team doesn't host a playoff game? That's not what they're saying. They're talking about seeded higher. If we're just going to seed, does that mean the division champ's not hosting a playoff game?
Would be the impression.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. They very intentionally put these criteria just below what would have still given the Jags the playoff game. Jags weren't below 500. They were 9-8. They weren't 4 games better. They were 3 games better than the Chargers. They're actually, what they're describing is the Bucs situation. The Bucs and the Cowboys. There was 4 games separating them. The Bucs were below 500 at 8-9. And they had to go on the road to take on the Buccaneers.
And Dallas crushed them.
Oh, wrecked them. Didn't even matter. Didn't make a difference at all. But the Chargers lost, and this is clear about this. I, on paper, don't have a problem with this. Even if they host the playoff game. Why would you have a problem with a team 4 games better than somebody hosting a playoff game just because of some arbitrary divisional setup we've put years ago in place? 4 games and under 500? You're talking about this rule might come into play once every 15 or 20 years. So no, I don't have a problem that in the once-in-a-lifetime exception that some of the 12-win team in the AFC West and some team
it's
from
like
the
once
AFC South won 8 and 9. So what?
Yeah, it's once or twice a decade. If you kind of go back, it's once or twice a decade where this scenario is going to come into play. But of course, it is the Chargers.
It is losers mentality because the Chargers know they can't win the AFC West.
Chiefs have won 7 straight, and so they're trying to make sure that in their division, if they find a way to win 12 games somehow but lose the division, that they don't get screwed over by a crappy AFC South, let's say, division winner or something like that. It's fine. Honestly, this one does. I mean, this isn't one to get all that bent out of shape about. I think the overtime adjustment was more of the true one last year with Buffalo. I don't even know if this one will pass, and I would guess it's not going to pass, by the way. The Chargers can put forward this proposal. I don't think teams will vote for it. I don't even know if it'll actually come up for a vote.
I mean, I'd rather have you've mentioned like the 4th and 15.
Division winner, like winning your division has to still matter to a certain extent.
It's funny that we've the reason why you say that is because that's all we've known. Should it really matter? Like if we just
let's not do divisions, man. Let's not even have any divisions. Let's just open it wide. Let's make it wide open.
Yeah, I'm saying, would that be a big deal? I don't think that would bother me. It wouldn't bother me nearly as much as it bothers you.
Rivalries, they're
already moving anyway. Is the Raiders rivalry
stuff.
as good as it is now? It's in Vegas. It's not the same angry fans. They're all road games. They've got no true rivalry with the Chargers, who have no fans. It's like, I mean, I get, and they can still play all those teams. It's just in the end, is it not better if the teams with the 7 best records all get to go to the postseason instead of, we're deciding one of these bad teams gets to go every year, and that team never has a chance to win the Super Bowl. And I'm not sure that the 7th seeded team that got it over the division winner would either, but it just feels like that's the case. Sorry, I was just reading an Adam Schefter tweet. With the Jets closing in on a deal with Alan Lazard, another wide receiver expected to be on the radar for them in the coming days, is Packers veteran Randall Cobb.
Well, that's his guy. That's Rodgers' guy.
So they signed Hackett to be a coach. Then Cobb, who he apparently yelled at the brass for, and Lazard. They're doing whatever they can to give him.
As they should. They have no other
option. Should they make
now.
sure Aaron Rodgers actually comes? Because
this is clearly
the Broncos did this, and then Rodgers didn't show up.
So the wide receiver signings to me are way more of a sign that it's happening than Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett failed at bringing in Aaron Rodgers last year to the Denver Broncos. They ended up settling in that trade for Russell Wilson, and it backfired in a huge, huge way. They brought in New York Nathaniel Hackett, and it seems to be working this go-around. The fact that there's already reports that Lazard and Randall Cobb are likely to go to the Jets, they're just finalizing everything. I think they want to have everything in place by the time they announce the Aaron Rodgers trade. They want to have everything locked in, and he wants to have that assurance. So I'm not all that surprised. And they have to do whatever he wants at this point. The Packers even have more leverage. To me, they can get another draft pick out of this whole thing. They have more leverage now because the Jets have no Derek Carr option anymore, no Jimmy Garoppolo option anymore. They have to land Aaron Rodgers. There's no other route.
Because they gave up some of their leverage when they had said, we don't want him here. Just straight up, we don't want him. We'd like him out of here. Our plan A does not include Aaron Rodgers. Get him the hell out of here. Just find the medium compensation. Because if you try to rake him over the coals, you're right, the Jets would be screwed, but so would you. You'd have no wide receivers, 2 quarterbacks, you'd be in a position to win 7 games with Aaron Rodgers. Objectively, the worst position to be in. You'd rather win 2 games with Jordan Love or 13 with Aaron Rodgers and actually keep some of the talent around him. But if you do that, then, we're going outside of this. What are they? Sure. Is Robert Tonyan a free agent? Just one former Packer away from completing the entire Green Bay Packers offense from last year.
Yeah, I mean, look, Alan Lazard is somebody we've talked about as being one of the best available free agent wide receivers. So, that on its own right is a really good signing for the Jets anyway.
Even if they weren't going to have Rodgers.
I mean,
they were just going to go Jimmy.
Sense. The Randall Cobb one is the one where it's okay, that's just his guy. We knew that from when he went, when Cobb went down to Dallas. Aaron Rodgers did not like the fact that Randall Cobb signed with the Dallas Cowboys for that 1 year. And
he still managed to finish with 417 yards last year.
Isn't that kind of crazy, though? Imagine a world. I don't want to imagine, and I know you guys don't want to imagine a world where Patrick Mahomes is okay, I'm signing with the Jags or whoever, and then we're talking about, I wonder if they'll go after McCole Hardman as such a special duo in Kansas City, all the wins, all the Alan Lazard. At what point did we ever think that, you can't break those guys up?
That was his number 1 wide receiver last year, though.
It's by default, though, right?
The funny part is the Randall Cobb one is more like if Patrick Mahomes demanded that they keep DeMarcus Robinson forever. Right now, he's bring back D-Rob or I'm out of here. You're like, what?
He's the engine that makes this offense go.
We can't survive. You're like, I know you're friends or whatever, but he doesn't have to be here. There are other wide receivers that are cheaper and younger. Randall Cobb at this point, it feels like he's got to be 39 years old.
Yeah, I think he's
Ageism.
32 or 33. But yes, it's just you want someone. It's the same thing we say about coaches. They want people that they're familiar with that can help them establish what they're trying to establish there. And that's the feeling that Aaron Rodgers has likely heading to the Giants. I mean, I just saw yesterday, excuse me.
It's okay. Take your time.
Very emotional,
Hey, take your time.
D'Amico Ryan's new head coach then with the Texans, he signed Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward was his corner in San Fran. Jimmy Ward's a veteran. He wanted to have him down to run his defense to establish what he's done in the past. All right, coming up next here on Cody and Gold. One thing Cody says other coaches in the AFC West will not be able to do.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gant Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gant Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download all new episodes of Nick's Wavin' in the Wheat podcast, released every Thursday on the 435 Podcast Network and the Odyssey app.
BetMGM is offering college basketball fans a chance at winning big. Really, really big. The BetMGM March Matchups $10 million Perfect Bracket Challenge is free to play and fun to dream about, and it's only on the king of sportsbooks. Pick a perfect bracket, and you'll be the legend that takes home the $10 million grand prize. Fall a little short, the player with the most correct picks for the entire tournament wins a guaranteed top prize of $100,000. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions and complete details. Must be 21 years of age or older to enter. Kansas only. New and existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to Refunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee kept on payroll during COVID-19. GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC, and they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets. Businesses believe they won't qualify based on incomplete or outdated information. So don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you notice the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All of that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months, same as cash financing to approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate, 816-799-0820. And they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number, 816-799-0820, or check out the website, windowworld.com.
Having unexpected car trouble or just in a car accident? You need Jay's Southland Tow Service. They have 20 years of experience and service the KC metro area. They specialize in light, medium, and heavy duty, also in commercial transport and construction equipment. Keep this number handy, 816-779-4TOW, or go to southlandtow.com. Use the tow service trusted by most local police departments, Jay's Southland Tow. There's nothing they can't do, so be in the know and use Jay Jay's Southland Tow.
Hey guys, it's Nick. I'm kickstarting a healthier lifestyle this year by starting my day with 213 Flashpoint. It boosts my energy, increases my metabolism, and curbs my cravings. It's made a massive difference for me. I really think it can help you too. Find it at any of the 8 supplement superstores locations in the KC metro area.
Catch all the tournament action this year over at The Other Place with 3 great Kansas City locations. The Other Place is a one-of-a-kind game day experience with great food specials, great beer specials, and enough televisions that you'll catch every buzzer beater this March. The Other Place, Shawnee, Olathe, and downtown Overland Park.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital.
Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $37.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Why have over 2 million people trusted their bath remodels to Bathfitter? When a normal day is anything but normal, we fit your schedule with our unique tub-over-tub process installed in just a day with no demolition. When high quality is the only quality that matters, we fit your standards. We've been remodeling baths for over 35 years, and every bath we install comes with a lifetime warranty. Get the bath you want in a day with quality that lasts a lifetime. Bathfitter, it just fits. Visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
Evan Mack talks with Matt Hardy.
There's nothing like a wrestling fan, for better or for worse. How do you handle that, though? We're talking about people talking about your family, what they don't know about your family or your brother or you. How does one handle that from a day-to-day basis?
Something I joke about with the Young Bucks all the time. I said, if you would vanity search Matt Hardy on Twitter, I said, after you got through 100 replies, you'd want to quit the business and never be seen again. It's just, you just learn to deal with it. You know what I mean?
It's the Kick Rocks Wrestling Podcast with Evan T. Mack. Subscribe now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports is brought to you by Park & Go. Book parkandgo.com.
Getting ready to go on vacation can be stressful. Lucky for us, there's Park & Go. Easy online reservation, free instant shuttles, luggage assistance, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. The best deals in airport parking. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Short with you. We'll get to Nick's notes coming up in about 12 minutes or so. We were talking about the AFC West movement and free agency so far, that the most active team in free agency in the division has actually been the Raiders in terms of notable names, Jacoby Myers and then Jimmy Garoppolo. The Broncos signing a couple offensive linemen yesterday. The Chargers, to this point, it's more about their running back wanting to possibly be traded in Austin Eckler. And other than that, the coaches have one new addition this year to the division, and that is one Sean Payton, who has to deal with Russell Wilson. And based off of their signings, tight ends and offensive linemen, they're just saying, we're just going to try to protect him, and we're going to change up the style of play. If they're willing to shop their wide receivers around, it probably also tells them they know that Russ cooking is not a thing.
That's a bad idea. And I was thinking about that in relation to this yesterday, because we were having the conversation. We were talking about Andy Reid and how long is he going to coach? And we were talking about that as far as the next decade of success in Kansas City. What does the next 10 years look like here for the Chiefs? And you were saying it depended a little bit on the coach, which I think is fair. But then I was thinking about it last night, and I'm convinced that Andy Reid is going to outlast all these dudes. He will be the last man standing of the current group of coaches in the AFC West. Now, there are two that are easy, in my opinion. If Brandon Staley misses the playoffs this year, so he only has the one playoff appearance, he's done. It's over. As a matter of fact, if he makes the playoffs but gets knocked out in the first round, someone's going to stare down the barrel of, we had a rookie contract with Justin Herbert and have gotten absolutely nothing out of it, and now he's going to be paid an absolute mountain of cash, and there's nothing we can do, and we're stuck, and they're going to be looking for different answers. Josh McDaniels stinks. He had a terrible first year, and then he followed that up by saying, what if I just tried to be the Patriots again? A strategy he tried the last time he was an NFL head coach. It went horribly. It's not going to go well. There's a lot of talent. Jimmy Garoppolo has done a good job getting it to weapons at times, but they're not going to be good enough. He's going to get fired in a couple of years. He's gone in a couple of years. Staley's gone in the next couple of years, which only leaves me Sean Payton, a coach who I am convinced will get tired of Russell Wilson and look for an escape. You know why? He quit on his last team. Because it sucked. The situation was no good, and he walked. He can get paid a lot of money to go be on TV, and I think he'll just do that instead. He's going to get tired of Russ faster than Andy Reid will get tired of coaching in the NFL.
So the first two, yeah. I mean, the first two you mentioned seem pretty obvious if Brandon Staley can't figure it out this year, right? Because Brandon Staley already had to get rid of his offensive coordinator, had to change up the coaching staff, and when you have Justin Herbert, who is not going to be on a rookie deal here, he's going to get an extension this offseason most likely, so that puts even more pressure on him. So, yeah, Staley, if he's coaching 3 years from now with the Chargers, that means the Chargers probably won the division, and the Chiefs somehow lost the division for the first time in 7 years. So that's what you're really banking on, probably for him to keep his job. And then McDaniels, its question is as long as his contract still has a lot of money attached to it. He might have been gone already if it wasn't for the fact that their owner, Mark Davis, just doesn't have the cash flow to go ahead and write another check while also then paying a brand new coaching staff.
Because he's still paying the old coaching
right.
staff.
So once the dollar amount gets down low enough, if McDaniel's not having success, then he's out. So I think there's a chance McDaniel actually gets another 2 years, and so one more after
but I think
this.
Andy's getting more than two. So
right. Sean Payton, I'm not as sold as you are that he's out. And it sounds like you think he's out in 3 years. I think Sean Payton, whether they have a ton of success or not, is going to be there for 4 or 5. So then you're asking, is Andy going to coach for 5 or 6?
I think there's a chance Payton only makes it 3. I'm telling you, man, he looked for the escape. I don't know why we ignore that. He looked for the escape hatch in the last job. It got ugly. The price tags got too high. He knew that he couldn't win with that roster, and he moved on. I don't think he actually really wanted Denver more than other projects. It's just the only one that was offering. And he knew he had to get back into the head coaching game eventually, or somebody wasn't going to take him serious. And if I know a coach who didn't seemingly want the Denver job anyway, who left his last job early, is going to get stuck with Russell Wilson for the next 3 years, I could see him saying, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're acting like he's going to be surprised that he's stuck with Russell Wilson for 3 years.
No, I know.
He already knows that. So he wouldn't have taken the damn job if he thought that was going to get him running out the door. I think Sean Payton
I'm sure
will
he
be
goes
there.
in there being like, this is going to work.
I think he'll be there for 4 or 5 years. So again, you're asking whether or not you think Andy's coaching for 5 or 6 for him to outlast the group. And then you and I have maintained this. If Andy is physically able to do so, then yeah, you're not walking away from Patrick Mahomes and what you got rolling, and maybe more than your 2 rings that you already have.
It's so hard to guess with Andy because I'm assuming the same thing as you, that if there is no health scare over the next 7 years, he'll coach 7 years. But can I predict that? Like, I don't know. I mean, you're taking a guess whether or not. It's not like you thought Bill Self was going to have a heart incident this past, was that a week and a half ago?
For clarity, they never said it was a heart incident, but yeah.
Well, did they say artery?
No, that's
been confirmed.
That's all rumors.
Well, he is speaking to the media tomorrow?
I think so.
Okay, maybe
I believe they did confirm that he had 2 stents placed in.
Did they actually confirm that?
On Sunday.
Okay, I thought
Norm Roberts confirmed it or whatever?
I don't think it was Norm Roberts.
I didn't know if that was official or not. I just wanted to make sure. So, all right. That's what was rumored and what we thought, but I didn't know that was actually made public.
Yeah, according to the Associated Press, recovering from a procedure that treated blocked arteries in his heart.
There you go.
So, I mean, it's not like you assume that was going to happen. That makes you rethink, right?
Sure.
What the Bill Self possible coaching timeline looks like. That would make me rethink it. But right now, other than every year he seemingly has a little bit of a limp from some sort of like off-season leg surgery or whatever is happening that leads him to have the cane during off-season stuff, there's been no indication that that's the case. I think a lot of this comes down to me and you thinking that I think that there's a chance that Sean Payton's not here that long. Like, I understand. The other two guys, I don't think we're
How
really
long do you
having
feel like,
a
honestly,
debate
though, how long do you think Sean Payton coaches? You said 3 years?
3 years.
Yeah, I don't see that, man. 3 years is not for if it was a first-year head coach or something, I'd be like, well, yeah, he's probably gone in a year or two.
I don't think it's about him getting fired. I think this is about him deciding this sucks.
My only reason why I don't buy into that is like he already it's not like he's surprised. Like he got hired and the organization said, hey, Sean, you're stuck with Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? Like he knows Russell Wilson is the guy that he's with. He thought it was a good match with ownership, with the general manager, and he thinks that he can do enough with Russell Wilson and maybe buy some time that 3 years from now, Cody, in 3 years, you know what can happen? They can actually get out of that contract in 3 years.
But that's the crazy part. If you think he's coaching for 5 years, do you think Russell Wilson's his quarterback for all 5 years?
No, but he doesn't have to be.
I'm just asking. No, he doesn't have to be. But I've seen him. I have a history, at least, of one other time where he ejected. Right. So, I don't think it's out of the question. And as much as he did eventually take the job, we've all gone to situations where we're like, we're going to make the best of this. Because I really feel like with him, I'm going to make the best of this situation. Not, this is my dream job and the one I wanted more than any other job, and why aren't more? I think it was more like, why aren't more teams calling, and why is this? And the Broncos agreed to pay him the amount of money he wanted to make. And it's not a full Charlie White's cash grab, but it's a cash grab in a sense where he took a lesser job, a job he probably didn't want as much, and with a quarterback who looked like garbage. And he's like, I'll make him look a little bit better. If this doesn't work out, I'll bail. Yeah, I just think it was someone that was in the broadcast booth and he coached his whole life and he wanted to get back to coaching. And you're right, that was the only opportunity. But I think what you're saying actually leads me to believe that he actually is going to coach longer. You're telling me that he was in the broadcast booth, was going to make more money, and still decided to coach. That tells me it's someone that really likes coaching. I don't think he's making more money. I said he could have made more money broadcasting. I don't think so. He's making like $20 million a year, and he coaching the Broncos? Was he making that broadcasting? Overall, throughout, you're saying right away? Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, for the next 4 years, I would say Sean Payton's going to make more coaching. Yeah, so when you look at his New Orleans Saints tenure, you're telling me though that he bailed on that. That was after 15 years. Things get stale after 15 years. So we'll find out. It was later. Back. It was a lot later. I would push back on the notion that 3 years from now you're just gonna be like, you know what? I'm out. I'm done. I just don't think that's gonna happen. We'll see. None of us know. We'll see. Who do you think lasts the longest? By the way, you think it's Payton? If you had to guess right now, what's the order of the coaches? How long they last in the NFC West?
How many years could you consecutively last in the same building with Russell Wilson before you just looked for any excuse to leave?
Do I get to make $18 million a year doing that? Because that's much easier for me. I could probably make it like a decade.
You know what? After 2 years or 3 years of making that much money,
be like, I don't need any more.
I just did it 2 years in a row. That's enough. And this sucks.
That part would just, for me, it'd probably be easy to be like, all right, so I got $50 million for 3 years of work. I'm out.
And see you later, Russ. Sean, why did you leave? You were making so much money. He's like, have you ever met that guy? He sucks, man.
It's the worst. And their rich owner, to his effect, he won't care about eating 2 years of that contract. Be like, oh my God, he's going to eat 2 years. Doesn't matter. That dude's so rich, it won't matter. He won't care about paying somebody else.
If we're going real specific, after 3 years, you're saying he's going to leave on his own. Sean Payton not getting fired after 3 years. No chance.
Zero?
Fired after 3? No chance.
Okay.
Leaving? Maybe I'll leave the door open.
Yeah, you're just not willing to say.
Yeah, getting so emotional.
What's going on today?
That's the second day in a row he's gotten choked up.
You've almost cried 3 times in the first 45 minutes of this show.
Got phlegm in my throat. Allergy season or whatever. Something.
Is it allergy season? I feel like people just say that about literally any time of year.
I mean,
November, April, July.
I'll say it in the dead of winter.
It's allergy season. It's objectively not.
Everything's dead outside. I don't know, man. Something's got me. You guys want to keep doing
I don't know. I was talking, and then we sidetracked to my phlegm discussion.
We were giving you a second to catch your breath.
I feel like a good time to move to a new conversation, a natural time.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
You want to talk some Royals baseball in kind of a different way? Okay, so I know that the team's not the most interesting from a few different perspectives because people expect them to lose some games this year. But what's happening with their TV rights could actually be the best thing for them. Because objectively, this team is more interesting than any of the ones over the last couple of years. Because they're way more young, with way more possibilities, way more upside than they've had in several seasons in Kansas City. Doesn't mean it's all going to come to fruition. But if what happens in Major League Baseball actually happens. Right now, the Royals are not included in this grouping of teams. But Bally's going to go bankrupt. They're gonna file for bankruptcy this week. And as part of that, MLB is looking into the possibility of streaming games for free for several teams across baseball as part of a way for people to still get those things. Now, I'll mention the Royals are not one of those teams that is being mentioned in this article yet. Some of the ones that include the ones are the Reds, the Guardians, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, according to a few. But some people do think that it could include the Royals as well, which would make sense. They are a small market team. But if you're telling me right now that the Royals are interesting and for the first time in forever, they are easily accessible on television. We know they're easily accessible on the radio. You can get it for free and have been able to get it for free this whole time. But easily accessible on television, Gold? Isn't that a good thing for your team for 1 year, for people to actually get reinvested in them?
For fans, it's great. Financially, if you want to talk about the lack of revenue coming in terms of TV dollars. But you can get that next year.
Get people reinterested in your team again, you know?
Maybe. Like, I mean, that we're going to have to see where Major League Baseball goes in terms of redistributing the rights. But for this particular season, the short term, yeah, it's great for fans. How many times have we heard all of us even complain about it? And yes, you can listen on 610, of course, but you were doing your VPN stuff, and people were doing all this other random crap.
Anything you can, man.
And if you were able to actually access the Bally app or the MLB app, I'm assuming, right? They would just unlock it because you can already have. I already have the MLB. What's their extra
you get the free T-Mobile
innings or whatever it is.
Yeah, but you don't get the local because of blackouts and all the nonsense.
All they have to do is
in the blackout.
And then they'll still have to, a lot of the same people that are doing the broadcast for Bally, they would just ultimately change the naming, but it would be the same crews. I imagine they would just take over the production of those broadcasts. You'd have the same broadcasters and things like that.
Well, because it's going to be too hard for them to negotiate it outside of a 2-week window before the season starts. Yeah, it's just going to be Joel Goldberg and the other guys, right? Handling, and Ryan Lefevre and the other television broadcasters handling the duties, you would think, because that's way easier. I told you the best case scenario is baseball just take it all over and do it under one collective hat. But there's a way to make this work where it, in the end, is better for baseball. Because if Bally's going bankrupt means I can just get MLB TV for $120, but there are no more blackouts anymore, awesome. This is what we've been asking for the whole time. No one has said that they're not willing to pay for the product. I understand that some would prefer that it just be on cable television or YouTube TV or some of these other services you provide for. But if they gave you an ease-of-use thing to subscribe to that you could just pay for and immediately get access to the game with no blackouts, we'd all do it. Because at least
What's the dollar?
easy.
I mean, this scenario you're talking about this year for 1 year could be free theoretically, but take the diehard baseball out of it. I know that's you, so take yourself out of it because your price might be a little bit higher. And Nick is probably a good barometer of this, or maybe we got two extremes. Maybe we got Cody.
He's probably whatever our medium price is.
You ask yourself. Just have a conversation with yourself.
What's the? I'm curious with the text line.
It's Alex.
913-586-7610. What's the price where you would pay monthly to watch the Royals though? On an app too. Again, this would not be through your YouTube TV or whoever you get your TV thing.
I think there's a bunch of people who complain that $15 a month, which is what Bally's was asking for last time, is way too high.
I think that's $7.99 or $9.99 for people to get the masses to actually willing to pay.
How is it that people
a lot of people in July, Cody, when this team is X amount of games under 500? Because let's be honest, that's the biggest answer and solution to this. If the team is winning, suddenly that $13.99 doesn't seem too bad. But when the team is 20 games under 500, $13.99, people are like, yeah, F that.
But League Pass costs $15.
Right.
So people do pay.
Again, this is where the whole diehard. Not everybody has League Pass. So plenty of people do not watch. Right. You and I are exceptions to this. I love watching a random West Coast game at 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday. You and I are exceptions.
But if it's your team and you live somewhere else, you pay for it. If that's the only
somewhere else, yeah.
If Kansas City, if that's the only way to get the game on television, I think there's a good chance people would pay it. In the
There's
NBA,
still a lot of people that just don't want to pay for it. Plain and simple. They want to be able to pay for their YouTube TV or whatever and not have to pay to watch Royals games on top of it.
I understand because that's the old cable model, that's the way it is. But I mean,
I think there's a lot of people still wouldn't pay $10 a month if it's a losing team.
Apple TV's asking $7.99 for MLS, and that's if you already have Apple TV. It's got to be higher than that for baseball.
But it doesn't.
You should accept it being higher.
Two things with that though. That's for the entire league, not just for one team.
So is MLB.
No, but this MLS thing is $7.99.
Sure, but that's how they should make the baseball one. $15 a month. That's how much it is. If you buy MLB TV, it's $120 for the year.
Right.
It works out to be about $15 a month, and it's every
restrictions,
team in the blackout. That's it. Same price in the blackout. Just give me the extra team.
But that's the
I'm
key
only
right now.
asking for one team.
But I guess that's my point. Is right now, though, even for this year, let's say I gave you a price this year, that you would only get the Royals games. Not the blackout thing wouldn't be lifted.
No, I'm saying the blackout only applies to the Royals games. Right now, MLB.
But that's what I'm saying.
I'm saying make it for everybody.
Right.
Why
I'm
would
saying
you
something that actually exists, though. You're talking about something similar like product, the dream product.
No.
I'm talking about for this particular season or the next year in the future, what's the real dollar amount you would pay just for Royals games?
I'm just saying, why would you have to just pay for Royals games? The product already exists for $15 a month.
Cody,
all you're doing is adding a team. It's not a dream product.
Yes, it is. I get it. The blackout thing has been existing for a while. They're not just going to randomly drop blackouts that's not happening anytime soon. If they do it, it's for one season. They're not just, we've been asking for this for 10 years. I'm talking about 4 Royals games only, which is the only option you have right now. What would you pay?
I still think the price is right around there. $15 a month.
Okay. I don't think a lot of people would pay $15.
Gotta write something down.
Nick's notable notes.
Wow, spirited debate there, guys.
Not really.
I thought both sides made great points. And
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, you guys' ability to, have debates like that while still remaining civil is what makes this show so great.
Our
what makes America great.
Our Royals Conversations are brought to you by the KCK PD, Nick, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
Happy Pi Day, guys.
Oh, it is.
Today is Pi Day.
Wow.
How many decimal points into pi can you go? 3.14. I'll give you the first 2.
Thank you.
That's
it, man. That's all we got for you.
Never memorized beyond that.
3.1415. That's all I got.
Okay.
Nice.
It's further than me.
926-535.
You're looking at it. You looked down.
I knew 1415.
What's
that
your
part's
favorite
easy.
kind of pie, Nick?
Pizza pie.
That's racist. What? Nobody says it like that. Pizza pie. You're doing
Racist towards whom?
Italians.
What? What are you talking about? Nobody calls it that. It's called the pizza pie.
Nobody, and now the way you said it like Mario makes it even more offensive.
Mamma mia. Can we just move on? Can we just move on? Guys, there's big things to discuss in notes today.
What?
Aaron Wilson, NFL insider based out of Houston, had an interesting report earlier this morning. He suggests that the Chiefs could still be in on star left tackle Laramie Tunsil. I know a lot of us believe that after the signing of Jawaan Taylor, that sort of ended the conversations about the Chiefs going after Tunsil, who does have 1 year left on his deal. If you traded for him, you would likely make him the highest paid left tackle in the NFL. This comes just about 12 hours after the Chiefs landed Jawaan Taylor. Here is Aaron Wilson earlier this morning. Take a listen.
Right. More than rumors, and doesn't mean that they will actually have a deal, though. The two sides, I'm told, have spoken, Brett Veach, Nick Caserio, so they've had some conversations. Whether that culminates in a deal, we don't know, but they've had those kind of conversations. It's been explored. And the Chiefs, while they're saying that Jawaan Taylor is going to move from right tackle to left tackle, that he's so athletic and he can do it, we'll see. I wouldn't. I think some of that stuff was to throw people off the sniff. But yeah, I heard very authoritatively that the Chiefs were even talking to people that know Tunsil to try to get some kind of gauge for what's he all about, what's he like. And so they were doing their due diligence and doing homework on Laramie Tunsil even in the last few days.
All right, so the Chiefs apparently could still be in on Laramie Tunsil even after the signing of Jawaan Taylor. Would you guys be interested in this move by the Chiefs to just basically say, F everything else, we're going all in on having the best offensive line in football?
I mean, not nearly as interested as I was 24 hours ago prior to Jawaan Taylor. Yeah, would the offensive line be ridiculous and would it be settled? Sure, but I'm just thinking about the dollar amount. So I'm giving up draft picks. I'm going to give Laramie Tunsil a deal to make him the highest paid left tackle in football probably. And I just gave what will end up, if Jawaan Taylor actually plays right tackle in this scenario, then Jawaan Taylor is suddenly the highest paid, one of the highest, if not the highest paid right tackle in football.
But it would be the single greatest offensive line in the NFL. Mahomes may get sacked one time.
And I got to pay Creed Humphrey next year maybe. And then most likely the following year, I'm going to have to get rid of Trey Smith. I'm just saying the offensive line would be incredible. But that means the Chiefs would flat out be telling you, and it would probably work, by the way, but just be prepared. No wide receivers ever getting paid in Kansas City.
And to be fair with the offense, with the guys you mentioned, with Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, you may start to pay them next year, but you're talking about another year after that where the cap, right? Because the first year of the deal is always some stupid cap hit of like
$2 million.
$2 million.
Yeah.
So you could probably stagger the money in a way to where it would work, but you're right. You would have to make a decision. You may already have to do that between Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, but
I mean, Mahomes would not be touched.
And
it's true.
And if you're making a decision to say we're going to value the tackle spots more than we are the interior of the line, it's tough to argue against that idea as well.
Yeah, they would have the best offensive line in football.
Unfortunately,
no
Marcus Kemp would be wide receiver 2 in this scenario, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not sure it would matter because Mahomes would have like 37 seconds to throw.
Yeah, Marcus Kemp would have 65 catches for 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns.
He might in Washington since he's already on the Commanders.
No, they'd get him back.
Oh, they trade for Marcus Kemp.
Honestly, you know what this leads to? This leads to 2 things that are a dream for me. Drafting a tight end and or making Jody Fortson one of your premier targets in the offense.
Receiver again?
Well, here's the benefit. If you all of a sudden, if you did truly have Tunzel as your left tackle and Jawaan Taylor as your right tackle, then the days of you needing to leave anybody in the chip are gone. And also, does that change your feeling on like Jerick McKinnon because his value has been more of a pass protector, even though he had a nice back end of the season? Like all of a sudden, do you need him back? Like that would change a lot of the thought process for the offseason. But interesting to hear that the door's not completely shut. But yesterday I was far more interested than I am today.
Or maybe this is the Texans trying to ramp up negotiations with another team.
And Aaron Wilson, I want to point, is based in Houston, covers the Texans. A lot of his sources are inside the Texans organization.
Do you know exactly who his sources are? Would you be willing to reveal them?
Reveal his sources.
I just told you.
Reveal somebody else's sources.
No, I just told you, like, you were asking, like, that could be the Texans trying to get it out there. I'm just telling you he lives in Houston.
Mahomes got sacked 26 times last year. How many times do you think he'd be sacked if that was his offensive line?
4.
Like 12?
4. And they would all be sacks that he took on purpose.
After 37 seconds of waiting.
All right, coming up next, we get to the 11 o'clock hour. We talked a lot about KU yesterday in the seating, but how about Missouri and what they already did for their future at head coach?
There's Kelsey to the end zone.
Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
See the reviews for yourself. Go at GANNasphalt.com and see for yourself what people, what clients, customers have said about the quality of work that you will get done at Gann Asphalt and Concrete. There's a reason why we're trusting them here at Odyssey to do our parking lot outside after Nick complained because his car's nice. He didn't want to hit the potholes anymore, so we figured we'd fix it for him. But that's the problems that you can solve. When you have your own business, when you have these things, you want to make sure you take care of it so that people are proud of the work when they're coming into your office and when they're seeing it from the outside. In our business, it's important to leave a good impression that you care about who you're working for in those cases. So whether it is paving services or concrete services, whether it's just maintenance solutions to put off that project for years to make sure you're doing that. It can go all the way from installation to patching to resurfacing, and you can make sure that it's done right by a local Kansas City-owned company who's been in business for over 25 years. If you're looking for a great place to work, my friend works over there. Look it up as well. GAN and Asphalt and Concrete can take care of it. Project manager, dump truck drivers, operators, and crew members. Starting pay up to $30 an hour based on experience with pay time off included. If you want any information, that's GANandasphalt.com or give them a call, 816-484-3338.
Start your Amazon business.
Hi, Ian Bauer. My first year averaged $45,000 a month in sales. Now I'm at $90,000 a month and hardly working.
In 2020, Americans made $50 billion selling on Amazon. Join America's Amazon expert Dylan Frost, where anyone can learn how to start an Amazon business for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. 2-hour seminar Tuesday, March 28th at 2 p.m. for the greater Kansas City area. Register at thewholesaleformula.com.
Hey, it's Kling. I'm obsessed with racking up fuel savers at Hy-Vee, so I got a great idea for you. Shop Hy-Vee on Monday, swipe your fuel saver card, and earn a fuel saver discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you spend. Watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for the official high temperature. Say it's 56 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 56 cents per gallon when I spend $56 on Monday. It's the Heat Up Savings every Monday through March 27th, only at Hy-Vee.
Must use lookup code 80007. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from Storm Track 5 Weather.
I'm morning meteorologist Greg Bennett. Watch KCTV5 News Sunday night at 10 for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you save on Monday with your Hy-Vee Fuel Saver Card. If the high was 63 degrees, you save 63 cents a gallon when you spend at least $63.
Make sure to watch Storm Track 5 Weather on KCTV5.
Hello, Madame Dupree. I'm here for my fortune telling.
Come, gaze into my crystal ball. I see financial stability.
Nice.
If you switch to T-Mobile, because you can get their price lock guarantee, so they won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
Wow, ever? Verizon and AT&T don't have that.
And I see a free Samsung Galaxy A3 Plus and no trade-in required.
No trade-in? Hey, wait a sec. Do you also work at T-Mobile?
Well...
Get the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus at T-Mobile, free on our Max plan when you switch. No trade-in required. Plus, you get our price lock guarantee, so we won't raise your rate for talk, text, or data ever.
$1,400 via 24 monthly bill credits and $200 virtual prepaid card rebate plus tax for well-qualified buyers. Contact us before canceling service to continue remaining bill credits or credit stop and balance on required finance agreement is due. Register prepaid card code within 30 days. Allow 8 weeks. Price lock exclusions like taxes, fees, select promos, and third-party services apply. Details at T-Mobile.com.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. This March, take a shot at college hoops with a no-sweat bet on FanDuel. It doesn't matter if you're new to the app or if you already have an account. Right now, every single customer can tip off the tournament with a no-sweat bet. All you need to do is sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account to claim yours today. Or if you're new to use my promo code CDOT, go to FanDuel.com/CDOT to get in on the action. Then you can bet on everything from the money line, point spread, to that 5-12 upset that you've been eyeing the entire time that you've seen your bracket. All on the app that's safe, secure, super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than with FanDuel. All you need to do is go on FanDuel.com/CDOT to join now or sign into FanDuel Sportsbook account to claim your no-sweat bet today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 President Kansas. Non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Max bonus bet $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. Terms at fuel.com/sports. Book with Kansas Casino LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Do you want to know what's trending now? You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. No payments and no interest for 6 months. This is a big deal. NetSuite by Oracle has never made an offer like this in its 22 years as the leading cloud financial system. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity across every department. In fact, almost 90% of finance leaders agree that NetSuite helps them reduce manual data entry time. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/play. That's netsuite.com/play. netsuite.com/play.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Subscribe and download to the all-new Character Concerns podcast with new episodes every Tuesday leading up to the NFL Draft in KC. Find it on the Odyssey app, 610sports.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Blinded by 11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. We'll get to some Chiefs football coming up in about 10 minutes or so. Once again, the Chiefs changing how other teams approach this upcoming season. We'll tell you what that is. But yesterday we focused in on KU and the seeding, getting the 1 seed but playing out west, not getting the Midwest region. So let's focus in on Missouri a little bit. Missouri Tigers are going to take on Utah State, that 7-10 matchup, Thursday afternoon. And
are you going to make it today?
Yeah.
Get a drink of water.
I do. I have been drinking.
You need some Claritin.
It's allergies and a cold combination. But Dennis Gates got an extension before our selection Sunday. He actually got it right before they beat Tennessee in the SEC quarterfinal. We talked whether or not Dennis Gates or Jerome Tang, which one would actually last longer at their program. Well, Dennis Gates gets an extension that pushes his salary up to $4 million. It was at $2.5 million, now $4 million, and extends it through 2028 and the 2029 season. The most important thing in this whole deal is his buyout right now increases to $25.5 million.
So making it hard.
If he leaves in 23 or 24. As time goes on, we know the buyout decreases. But that's the most important thing on it. Like, obviously, for him, he gets a salary increase. But for Missouri, the most important thing is, all right, with that hefty of a buyout, you feel like at least for another 2 or 3 years, he's not going anywhere.
Well, and I think that it's probably important to them to get to that point. But I think we've officially kind of started to jump the gun on these deals a little bit.
Oh, you think it's too early for him?
He had one successful year in which he's a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament. We're like, buy him up.
Yeah, but you can't.
Let's
approach
just
that.
do this.
You know, in today's day and age, like if you don't do that, Cody, then he's leaving. If that buyout's $4 million, that's not stopping any of the top. Let's say a top 5 program consistently in any of the Power 5 conferences.
I guess and I get it. This happens all the time. College sports have really become kind of synonymous with people leaving very quickly, either player or coach, to a new destination as fast as possible. But I guess you got to just trust your process a little bit in the hiring, assuming you've gotten better at that. It's that, or you just think that it doesn't really matter how you hire, and you just you either get lucky or you don't, because the previous couple didn't work out for Missouri, and this one did. They're worried, well, if we go back to the drawing board, we might just screw it up again. Because by this same standard, why hasn't K-State paid Jerome Tang yet? His team is a number 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. He might win National Coach of the Year.
Yeah, because not all of them get their deal done before the conference tournament starts. I mean, this one was pretty early. This isn't like guys get extensions before the year is up. Yes, but like Jerome Tang, if we don't even know if they're working on one, I would imagine they are. But if they are, he could get it. They could announce theirs the day before their NCAA tournament game here on Thursday, Cody. They could announce it if he does advance to the Sweet 16. They could announce it then. Like I don't think that means that K-State's not trying to keep Jerome Tang.
A lot of this is just like, I don't want to ever hear from a single college coach complain about NIL or the transfer portal ever again. If this is what I have to do, you have one good season. This is a good season at Missouri. We like Dennis Gates. We think it's a really good hire by Missouri. But he had one single good season, and we have to give you a 100% raise and guarantee you here for, like, what? You did one thing one time. Pretty good.
If you're a young, up-and-coming coach, and you said it, they struggled to find that coach the last 3 hires, really, at Missouri. You want to make sure you don't lose that guy. Do I think that I suddenly believe that Dennis Gates is just going to be top 3 in the SEC, top 4 in the SEC for the next 5 years? No, I'm not even telling you that. I get your point. But you have to make sure you don't lose him, because it looks like you struck gold. It looks like you found a really special coach, and he's pretty damn young, too. He could be there for quite some time, and you want to at least make sure that he can't walk out the door in 3 years.
I understand. I just feel like whatever contract you give someone in the initial buy should not have to be such a deterrent that nobody is willing to buy it out or pay, or the player or the coach isn't willing to walk, or any of those things. It's just a little too consistent as far as this sport goes, that coaches that it takes this. That 6 months of success warrants it's actually like an 80% raise, right? From $2.5 million to $4 million.
Look at Lance Leipold at Kansas. We had the same. I mean, it's the same type of thing, right? It's not like they won 10 games, Cody, but considering where they have been, you want to make sure you hold on to the
here's
guy.
The problem.
You struck gold, and Lance Leipold got a new deal. You know why? They wanted to increase that buyout as well. They wanted to make sure he did not leave. Doesn't mean those guys can't ever leave either, by the way, but it makes it more challenging.
I'm
This
saying
happens
buyer
all the
beware.
time.
They gave David Beatty an extension. I'm like, this is idiotic. And you're like, why do it?
Nowhere near the extension that Leipold go. And Gates is getting an extension that's is way more than what any other smaller tier extension has been.
But they always feel like they got to keep him because David Beatty won like 3 games at Kansas. Like, oh, God, what would happen if somebody was interested in him? Better give him an extension. It's like buyer beware a little bit. Dennis Gates, I think, is a very good coach. I don't think that they're going to regret giving him this contract. But the fact that 1 year is enough in all of college athletics to be like raise time to me seems kind of wild.
I'm not telling you that I think he's going to be a national coach of the year candidate and win 27 games every year. That's not what I'm saying. I'm with you there. But to me, it's just, this is what you have to do. If I'm an athletic director, whether it's KU, K-State, Missouri, any other school in the country, and if I'm in a Power 5 level, because if you're a smaller conference, you're going to lose that guy anyway. You just are. But if you're at a Power 5 conference, I want to do everything I can to make sure I just made it higher. I'm a fairly new athletic director if I'm over at Missouri. I've only been I've only been the athletic director, 2 years, I think, at Mizzou. The new athletic director, I think she's only been there for a handful of years. And she just made this hire. She doesn't want to have to make another hire soon, and it looks like they found a great coach. So what you have to do is, this is how college athletics works.
You know what's weird about it is there's not a single other sport at any level or player at any level that the system is you're good for 1 year and we pay you. Like the first year.
High level collegiate athletics for basketball and football, yeah.
Just basketball and football coaches. That's the only two. And just at the NCAA, that's it. No, because like the AD's not out here. Hey, I'd like some more money, please. What do you think? This football and basketball program's happen by itself? I'd like an 80% raise, please. She doesn't get to do that.
I bet she's going to get a raise here fairly soon. I bet you Travis Goff's going to get an extension here very soon based off of what he's been able to do.
Yeah, but it's a couple of years, right? Not just 1 year, 3 years. He's got to get down the road.
So you're upset, but now you want the ADs to get more money? I'm confused.
No, I think it's a bad system of making sure you actually have a good hire. I think it's kind of setting some of these programs back because what happens is you do pay them and they screw up. Because sometimes they screw up or it's not quite as rosy as it seemed just because they had 1 year all put together. And they should be given more time to build a program. Like if you sign, and look, maybe this goes back to the whole thing. If you're going to do this, just fine. Let's agree to this. But I don't ever want to hear any college coach ever complain about NIL or the transfer portal. If you're fine with that system, then be fine with getting a raise after 6 months.
No issue with that.
Unfortunately, we know that's a dream scenario.
I think also a lot of the younger coaches don't have a problem with it. It's the Jen Boeheims of the world that can't stand it.
Well, he's gone.
Dennis Gates, I think he understands. He's young enough. This is how it's going to be.
That's why Bill Self is having success.
He's embraced it.
In fairness, he was embracing it probably a little before.
They embraced it.
NIL fully hit, but yes.
I think I would ask you, what's the alternative? Would you be would you be upset then if you're Missouri?
I'd be worried.
And Dennis Gates. No, but I'm saying, you're saying it's too early, and maybe it's too early, Cody. I push back on that. Your long-term concerns. But if I told you that Missouri doesn't give Dennis Gates an extension, or K-State doesn't,
and they leave,
and then they leave, aren't you going to be saying, "Well, you should have locked them up"? How could you not? You got to do whatever you can to keep them. I feel like that's what I would be hearing from a lot of people.
I think a lot of Missouri and Kansas State fans would be saying that because of the success they've already had. I just don't like that that's the system put in place.
Good for Dennis Gates, though, man. Nice little bump from $2.5 million to $4 million, and again his buyout up to $25.5 million. If he's there, also that would owe him the same amount if he's fired within the next year without cause.
Well, I don't think they're going to fire him.
Don't think they have to worry about that. Anytime soon.
They're doing 5 games next year for them to even consider it, and even they'd probably still pay him for a year. So it seems unlikely. There is one thing happening in the NFL which is good, and for the Chiefs in general, we've given Andy Reid tons of credit, and I don't think that this is just a Patrick Mahomes thing. But here's yet another sign that if you're curious where the league is going to go, only follow what the Chiefs are doing. One of the hottest ticket items in all of free agency has been tight ends.
Yeah.
And not just teams that already have a tight end, like, Atlanta and Kyle Pitts, who then traded for Jonnu Smith. Every team is sliding towards 12 personnel, which is just so happens to be what the Chiefs just had success with. You know why? Because the Chiefs trouble for 2 consecutive years, and it did. They were a great offense, but it did give them trouble. There's no doubt about it. And they figured it out with this system in place. The entire NFL is going to copy it 2 years later, which to me is always the question of, do the Chiefs have another year of running 12 personnel and this Blake Bell, Jody Fortson, Travis Kelce? Like, are we just going to roll 3 or 4 or 5 tight ends deep? Or do they now have to try to be ahead yet again? Because this will be the offense resurgence, and we know that there's going to be fight back. Part of me thinks the Chiefs should start looking for the next answer now, because if everyone in the NFL is thinking your idea is good, probably about time to start switching it up, right?
That's what Andy Reid does throughout his entire career. I mean, go back to his Philadelphia days. This is why he has been so successful, that despite him being younger, him getting older, he's still the most innovative mind. We give a ton of credit, as we should, to guys like Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, because they're younger and they're innovative as well. Andy Reid, he did it when he was in his 50s. He's doing it in his 60s. He adapts more than anybody else in the league. And to your point now with where it's heading, he did it a year or two earlier. And now everybody's going to play catch up a little bit. So now Andy Reid in a year or so from now, what's the next move? This is what has made him so great. Yes, he's got a great quarterback now and an all-timer, but he's able to adapt. This is why some of his former assistants have had success. Doug Peterson, because they've been able to adapt because they've learned under Andy Reid. So I guess we shouldn't be as surprised.
Copy everything he just did.
And if you're like the Broncos for in particular, went out and got a couple tight ends. They're bolstering their offensive line. I think teams are looking at, unless they have the Burrows, the Mahomes, the Herbert, even though Mahomes, they just did it, but it was still with what we thought was a weaker wide receiver core. And if you're going to do that, well, then you better have the tight end play. You better have strong offensive line play if you're going to go and kind of play the type of personnel that the Chiefs did last year. And so it will be interesting to see what teams can actually replicate, because everybody's going to try. Doesn't mean they're all going to have success.
Who does it work for? Yeah. Because here's the thing. The Chiefs are funny because they ran more heavy-set personnel, this 12 personnel we're talking about, like multiple tight ends, than pretty much anyone in the league. And you're like, but that's weird because they're one of the more aggressive, high-flying offenses in the league. So how does this work? I'm like, well, they do all those things. They just do them out of heavy sets, if that makes it's weird because you'd be like, the normal idea of high-flying offense in the NFL for the last 5 years, 10 years has been spread. Spread them out, put 6 guys wide, do whatever the hell you want, spread them out, give them space, quick throws, whatever. And Andy was like, no, we're just going to bunch everyone together, and we're going to confuse you with motion and less wide receiver talent, right? Because there's no Tyreek Hill. It seems easier to replicate in my mind, but I don't know because one of the 2 tight ends for the Chiefs is Travis Kelce. If your whole plan is let's replicate 2 tight ends, but one of your guys in Travis Kelce, is this going to work for anybody? Because that's what makes this thing really function. It's nice that you have all those other complementary tight ends to work all your sets off of. Those guys are a dime a dozen. You can find all the Jody Fortsons, Blake Bells, whatever. You can find those guys, Jonnu Smiths, right, like Atlanta we just said. You can find those guys. But I'm assuming that part of the reason this 12 personnel stuff works for the Chiefs is because Travis Kelce, right? I just had to assume that. So this feels like a tough one. Like, it seems like it should be easier to replicate because you need less talent everywhere. But I'm not sure if you don't have a super talented tight end, it even functions.
All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
This has to do with food today, which always can get us into trouble. Me in particular.
Yeah.
There is, I don't know, maybe this is Nick, but there's a man suing Buffalo Wild Wings. He's claiming boneless wings are actually chicken nuggets, which for a very long time, I think that's always been the joke, that boneless wings are just adult chicken nuggets essentially.
Sure.
The plaintiff in the case claims the chicken chain is engaging in false and deceptive marketing and advertising by listing it on the menu that way. It's a class action lawsuit filed in Illinois that they're conducting deceptive business practices, that boneless wings are actually just, in fact, chicken nuggets.
So they're
I don't care what you I don't care what you call them. They're damn good. So I'll eat them either way. Like, I'll eat both. I'll eat bone in, and I'll do the boneless wings. You can call them chicken nuggets. I don't know if it tastes good. I'm good.
I'll be honest with you. I'm 100% with you, Gold. Sometimes I'll be watching TV and I'll just see an advertisement. It doesn't even matter who it's from. I'll see an advertisement for chicken fingers or chicken nuggets, and I'll just think to myself, man, those look good. If I could eat chicken fingers and chicken nuggets every single day with no health repercussions, I would do it. I think it's my favorite food. I think it is my number one food.
Look, there's some times where I want some bone-in wings, and if messy or not, there's nothing like it. They're fantastic. But there's also some times I'm like, you know what? I'll just go with the fork. I'll have the same sauce that I would have on those, and I'm good. Grilled wings are great. You get them Yachty style, but boneless wings, there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong.
You know what? We've come a long way. We've come a long way as a society, to the point where a lot of times, it used to be, oh, that's not even real meat. Well, now they're just it's just like chunks of chicken breast. In fact, some would say it's the healthiest part of the chicken.
So in fairness, this guy is right, though, because it's definitively not
so let's get back to that.
It's not a wing.
He's suing. I mean,
I think they should counter sue for annoyance.
For annoyance?
I hate it when people do these sham lawsuits just to get attention. I don't think that's what our legal system is for people like this to try and get some sort of payday. He's obviously not gonna win, but can he lose? Can he actually lose money in this? Because that's what needs to happen.
Buffalo Wild Wings responded in a tweet.
That's how serious they're taking it.
They said, it's true. Our boneless wings are all white meat chicken. Our hamburgers contain no ham. Our buffalo wings are 0% buffalo.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
That's
snarky.
Smart.
If you want to waste our time, we'll respond in kind. Cody, you didn't rule. What is your official stance on boneless chicken, on chicken fingers, chicken nuggets, etc.?
I'll eat either. I don't really know the insistence on getting hung up. It's I'm a man's man. I eat real wings. Okay. You're like, okay, I don't really care. I'll eat either.
And this guy's the worst, though. He says he claims he purchased wings from a location in Illinois earlier this year, saying he thought they were made of 100% wing meat. But instead of being deboned chicken wings, they were made of a composite of various chicken meat. And if he would have known, he would not have paid as much as he did.
Has he ever had a boneless chicken wing in his life? Has anyone ever deboned a chicken wing and then sent it to you?
You know what?
That doesn't exist.
He says the customers have suffered injury, in fact, as a result of defendants' deceptive practices. Injury?
Oh, my God.
From eating boneless wing. In fact, less injury risk.
Less injury.
Less injury risk. There's no bones involved. What are you talking about?
I think Cody's right, though. It's super annoying to me when people get, when they get hung up on the, boneless, bone in versus bone out. You're not a man. You're not a man if you don't eat bone in.
Yeah.
I don't care. This guy does say he'd just call it boneless chicken or chicken poppers. Give it a fun name instead of chicken.
You know what that's the equivalent of?
No, but it says wings, and then it clearly says boneless.
Yes.
What do you think it is then? What does someone that orders boneless wings actually think that is? Again,
he thought it was deboned wing.
This is why Buffalo Wild Wings' tweet was great, because they said our wings are also 0% buffalo. Because by the same logic with this dude, he should be suing them because there's not buffalo meat involved in the wings too. This guy's an idiot.
You know what? This is sort of the equivalent of when people get really upset when someone in media mentions Kansas City or mentions Arrowhead and they say it's in Kansas. Or when they talk about Kansas City and they say it's in Kansas.
You mean like Seth Davis?
Yes.
This is significant, as you know, because that means Kansas is going to Las Vegas as opposed to Kansas City, which is in the state of Kansas. So
it's so annoying when people get hung up on that. And they say it's in Missouri. Yeah, you know why they might think it's in Kansas, right? You understand? Do you understand why somebody who doesn't live in Kansas might assume that Kansas City is in the state of Kansas? You can see why they made that leap, correct? It's so annoying to me. Stop making this a thing. It's not a character trait to be annoyed that somebody eats boneless buffalo wings.
I hope the judge just throws this thing out quickly. Moves on, saves everybody time.
No, I hope they charge him. I hope they charge the guy for
he goes to jail for this
frivolous lawsuit.
Yeah, wasting the court's time. Well, I mean, that's our money, taxpayer money.
Someone's right. Yeah. Breaking news: Panda Express contains no panda in any of their food. That's basically what this guy is.
Are you sure about that?
That's basically what
is that confirmed?
That's basically what this guy is complaining about. That the name truly doesn't matter. That's just not.
How much time does it take to file a lawsuit?
I don't think it takes that long.
I mean, this was a lot of pages, so it probably took a little
while.
You
read the whole thing?
Yeah, Cody surveyed the entire
He probably just did it on ChatGPT. Write a lawsuit about boneless wings.
Can they do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can do legal filings.
Can you see if I can... Hey, sue yourself. See if you can get ChatGPT to sue yourself for copyright infringement.
Nick should do a fake one for stealing his songs. Go ahead and write one for stealing songs.
For Nick stealing my songs? Is that what you're saying?
You stealing the happy birthday Travis Kelce song.
But it went the other way. All right, gotta put a.
Yeah, because that's a good point, Gold. Because I wrote my Jody Fortson song, and then all of a sudden, Cody's popping up with "Happy Birthday, Patrick," and "Happy Birthday this," "Happy Birthday that."
You know that's not the way that it went.
Well, we'll see what the court has to say about it.
Okay. After we file this lawsuit,
yeah, tell it to the judge.
Someone says every restaurant that serves boneless buffalo wings calls them boneless buffalo wings. You might as well put a lawsuit out against every restaurant.
Yeah, that's another
exists.
funny thing. Why is he singling out one place?
Yeah, they are a wing place. It seems like the easier
But
target.
everyone does it.
Like on a national level, not locally where we got great places like the Peanut and otherwise, but like nationally, when you hear wings, people think of Buffalo Wild Wings. Unlike on a national, that or Hooters, right? You think of Hooters a lot?
Well, they think of other things when they think of Hooters as well.
But for wings?
Yeah.
What about Twin Peaks? There's scenic views there, too. They got wings.
Wow. Eats
and
drinks.
And scenic views. That's the trash of the day. Coming up next, we get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Back into what the significance is of that Jawaan Taylor contract, and there's still an open scenario for more work to be done. Next.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
If you've been listening to the show recently, you guys know we were talking about just the rain in the area. We've all experienced that here in Kansas City. And Cody and I were talking about wearing glasses in the rain, both from a driving standpoint and just wearing them in general. As someone that used to wear glasses until I called my friends at Dury Vision, it was annoying. You get sprinkles on your glasses, right? You have to quickly wipe off your glasses. If it was a downpour, it was even worse. And when you're driving and you see it's raining and then you couple the lights, the reflection, your glasses, rain, it's just a bad combination, one that maybe even makes you feel a little unsafe and uncomfortable. I don't have to worry about that anymore because I called my friends at Dury Vision. I went in for my free consultation, and just a couple days later, I had my LASIK procedure. And now, not only do I see better than I ever have before, but I sure as heck am not worried about driving in the rain and glasses being a deterrent anymore. I chose Dury because simply they're the best in Kansas City. Give Dr. Lindquist and his staff a call, 913-491-3330, or go online to DuryVision.com and tell them Gold from 610 sent.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Do you remember how cold it got this winter? Well, it was a chilly one. And if you notice the cold air pouring through those old leaky windows, well, guess what? When it gets hot this summer, the exact opposite is going to happen. All of that cool air is going to escape through those leaky windows, and that hot air is going to come in. So I'm telling you right now to replace those old windows and keep your house cool this summer with the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs over at Window World. Their windows are one of 2 windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval, a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And right now, Window World is offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So pick up the phone right now and call this number for a free home estimate, 816-799-0820. And they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Remember this phone number, 816-799-0820, or check out the website, windowworld.com.
The Landing in Liberty, the largest sports bar north of the river, and the home of over 65 HD TVs with every sports package. Hey, our motto is any game, anytime. 10,000 square feet under one roof to provide adequate social distancing. Our nonstop patio is not covered, but in the winter it's home to the only dine-in heated igloos in the Northland. Each igloo has its own TV and sound system and seats up to 8 people. The Landing has a great menu featuring the best dry rub wings in Kansas City and the home of the Ben Mallard chicken fingers. Most of our menu items, dressing, and wing sauces are house-made. Daily food specials, happy hour every day from 3 till 7 p.m. Live music on our smoking patio Thursday through Sunday nights. Make your next destination the Landing in Liberty. Food, fun, music, and sports. The Landing in Liberty, 1189 West Kansas Street in Liberty. Check us out online at thelandingeateryandpub.com. We'll see you at The Landing.
Hey guys, it's Nick. I'm kickstarting a healthier lifestyle this year by starting my day with 213 Flashpoint. It boosts my energy, increases my metabolism, and curbs my cravings. It's made a massive difference for me. I really think it can help you too. Find it at any of the 8 Supplement Superstores locations in the KC metro area.
Do you want to know what's trending now? You can defer payments of a full NetSuite implementation for 6 months. no payments, and no interest for 6 months. This is a big deal. NetSuite by Oracle has never made an offer like this in its 22 years as the leading cloud financial system. 33,000 companies have already upgraded to NetSuite, gaining visibility and control over their financials, inventory, HR, e-commerce, and more. Everything they need to reduce manual processes, boost efficiency, build forecasts, and increase productivity across every department. In fact, almost 90% of finance leaders agree that NetSuite helps them reduce manual data entry time. Whether your business generates millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, take advantage of this special financing offer of no payments or interest for 6 months at netsuite.com/play. That's netsuite.com/play. netsuite.com/play.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, trunk lids, license plate holders, and headlights. They've got lots of headlights. When you need parts, get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's gonna fit. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket, just like our customer, Michelle. As an entrepreneur, every day is different. My phone bill from Cricket, on the other hand, always stays the same. Without surprises, hidden fees, or annual contracts, I can work worry-free. That's Michelle, everybody, doing business like a boss. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Real customer, paid for testimonial. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Guys, fellas, men, are you Roman ready for the weekend? Right now, generic Viagra, aka sildenafil, is just $4 per dose at Roman. Just complete a free online visit with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. If medication is appropriate, Roman sends what you need in discreet packaging with free 2-day shipping. Generic Viagra from $4 at Roman. Go to ro.co/Viagra. Do it today and get 20% off your entire first order. That's ro.co/Viagra.
When making a real estate purchase, partner with an agent who is a realtor. We're experts in what we do with access to proprietary market data. We're Realtors, members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Look for sunshine with a few clouds today, high of 48.
Weather brought to you by Auto Trader. Shop millions of new cars, used cars, and electric cars on Auto Trader and find your 1 in a million car. Finally, it's easy. Auto Trader.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage on 610 Sports is brought to you by Park & Go. Book parkandgo.com.
Getting ready to go on vacation can be stressful. Lucky for us, there's Park & Go. Easy online reservation, free instant shuttles, luggage assistance, and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. The best deals in airport parking. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
While Cody's busy typing up a lawsuit directed towards Nick.
Already sent.
Oh, you filed it? You're trying
Sent
to go
Nick.
file later on?
I'm just showing him what the filing's going to look like so he can prepare his lawyer. And you'll see I'm seeking damages upwards of $500,000. So
for him
for
ripping
copyright
off
infringement.
Happy Birthday, Patrick?
That's correct.
Okay. Good luck with that, by the way.
It's into your inbox, Nick. So you just let me know what you think about that early filing. Just a preview. Shockingly detailed, by the way.
Cody's obsessed with this chat AI thing.
Nick's on it too now. Nick's
absolutely obsessed.
Nick's in.
His is a little bit different one though. His is like a voice recognition one versus yours. Thinking of contracts and finalizing numbers, we know it won't be official till tomorrow afternoon, but the Chiefs signing a right tackle, maybe left tackle. At least that's the plan. What they're saying right now, left tackle Jawaan Taylor. 4 years, $80 million. And you think about that dollar amount, and we can get into the specifics of the contract and why I love it for this year in particular, but it's going to go down as the third largest contract until Chris Jones gets his extension that Brett Veach has signed. since being the general manager. We all know Mahomes, 10 years, $500 or $450 million, nearly a half a bill. I mentioned Chris Jones, 4 years, $80 on his current deal. Frank Clark was 5 for $104, and then Joe Thuney 5 for $80. Jawaan Taylor is tied for the third largest contract that Brett Veach has handed out. Like, that's significant in its own right. You can say there's risk involved, sure, but the way it's structured, it's not any more risky than any of the other deals that they've signed to this point in time.
But it is risky. Not any more risky is fair, but when you're talking about one of the richest contracts in franchise history, I mean, you're talking about something that has to come with a certain amount of success. Like, that's what it is. I know for a fact that had they given the Orlando Brown the contract, we would have done nothing but spend time talking about did they get the value out of that deal? And we should treat Jawaan Taylor exactly the same.
Well, we do that with all contracts. I mean, like that, yeah.
But this is a particularly risky one. This is not like a 3 for 33 with MVS that we're going to drag down.
Right.
This is one of the largest contracts Brett Veach has ever handed out.
Right. Well, we'll assess it that way, like we do with most, and certainly the big ones. But
shouldn't we assess it with Frank Clark, with Chris Jones?
Sure. I'm not going to assess it with Orlando Brown Jr. directly if Orlando Brown Jr. is making way more money elsewhere. If we find out the dollar amount is very similar, then yeah, we're going to say, wait a second, you could have got almost the exact same contract done with Orlando Brown Jr. But based off of prior negotiations, the answer to that is no. And so if yes, it's going down Jawaan Taylor 4 years for $80, and if he is slightly worse than Orlando Brown Jr., but if Orlando Brown Jr. is costing $8 million more a year or $6 million more a year, then you have to weigh the dollar amount into it as well when you're considering that Jawaan Taylor at left tackle for this dollar amount is not that crazy.
It's not. Well, no. If he plays left tackle, it's actually a little bit of a discount. Again, depending on whether or not you get the value out of it. It also clearly sets a precedent of just how high Brett Veach is actually willing to go on these things. Length seems to be something of value to him. I know that technically Orlando Brown Jr. was offered, a 6-year deal last year? But we know that it wasn't a 6-year deal. So let's just be honest there and figure out whether or not it was really a 3 or 4 year deal, which is the same timeline we're doing here. I'm not trying to be critical of it already, but he has to perform.
Of course,
so if he plays right tackle, he's got to perform like a top 3 right tackle. If he plays left tackle, he's got to perform top 7, 8 left tackle to actually make this money be valuable. More importantly to me than his just individual play is, why?
I'll push back on
he's being paid that way.
On the right tackle, I'm with you. If he somehow ends up playing right tackle and there's another plan at left tackle that they're not really putting out there right now, then yeah, the right tackle money, he needs to be basically the best right tackle in football. Don't disagree. I'll push back that Jawaan Taylor needs to become the 7th best left tackle in football for the deal to work. I'll push back because we know how free agency works. The same way we didn't want to bring back Orlando Brown Jr. at a certain dollar amount is because he's going to get paid like a top 2 or 3, we think, and we know he's not a top 2 or 3. Like that's the way free agency works. You know, you can look at what the market is. It doesn't mean for it to be successful, he has to play at the top of the market. That's why the Chiefs have been hesitant, yes, to give a lot of guys top market contracts because they don't believe that those guys are going to live up to that. That's why the Chiefs have had success in free agency.
But he's currently being paid like the 4th highest tackle in the NFL.
Right, but I guess then you're right.
That's why I said 8th or 9th.
Then you already are setting it up for failure because I don't think Jawaan Taylor is going to step in next year and be a 7th best left tackle in football. If that's the standard, and I'm like, that's fine if you're holding it to that. That's fine. I'm just saying, then you are going to be disappointed because maybe in 2 years from now, when he's 27, maybe he's playing like that. Next year, after never playing left tackle, if Jawaan Taylor is going to actually play left tackle, after never playing it, I don't think he's going to suddenly just automatically be the 7th best left tackle in football. And if you're judging the contract solely off of that, then I think you're already saying it's going to be a failure.
In year 1, it would be problematic if they take a big downslide from where Orlando Brown Jr. was last year because they're paying him a huge amount of money.
In this entire offseason, when we've been talking about Orlando Brown Jr., I mentioned it multiple times. I said, you have to be prepared that you might get a little bit worse at left tackle. But you also might be saving X amount of money. That's a risk you have to take. If you're like, hey, I got to have top 7, top 10 left tackle performance, then in your scenario, then they should have just kept Orlando Brown Jr. because he actually was a top 10 left tackle. We don't know if Jawaan Taylor is that.
But here's the difference. It's like I'm taking the same amount of dip down. Orlando Brown Jr. was going to be the top paid left tackle. I wanted him to be a top 5 left tackle if he was going to make that amount of money, which he hadn't shown. Jawaan Taylor is going to be paid like a top 5 left tackle. I'm looking for top 10 left tackle play. I don't think that that's insane. Like, that's holding him to his contract. There's a certain level of, as you've said, acceptable drop-off for what the performance you're going to get based on the pay. You're always going to pay higher, hypothetically, unless you get the number one guy. Like, you're never overpaying Patrick Mahomes because you're going to get the number one quarterback, so it doesn't matter that you pay him like a number one quarterback. But unless you have that guy, there's accepted amount of variance down. I'm giving Jawaan Taylor more variance down based on the amount he's paid less than Orlando Brown Jr. But your plan still has to include, if you're going to pay him this amount of money, 4 years and $80 million and $60 million guaranteed, your plan still has to include that he's going to be a top 10 left tackle in the NFL. And probably more importantly, they remain a top 5 offensive line because the interior is not going anywhere. You have one of the highest paid guards, one of the better centers, one of the better right guards right now in the NFL. Obviously, we don't know the answer at right tackle, but they were paying a guy $3 million or $2 million last year. So you would think you'd get comparable play there for a guy they weren't even sure was going to start for them. So it's like, I do think that asking for that level of play right away is not crazy. Also, I feel like they must think that if they're going to pay him that amount of money and say at least publicly right now he's a left tackle.
I think eventually he has a chance to be that. I just don't think
you don't think it can just be a year one.
In year one, after never playing left tackle, I don't think he's going to just automatically be a top 10 left tackle. No. And if he's not that, but he's 12th to 15th in year one, I don't think that means the whole contract's a failure. But by the time he's 27, 2 years into this deal, here's the beautiful thing. A, he either is that, and it's great, or the way the contract's structured, like you were laying out, Cody, it sets him up where there is some out. If it backfires in a massive way, they can get out of this thing after a couple years. The beautiful thing is, even in year one, signing Jawaan Taylor yesterday does not prevent them from doing anything here in 2023.
Nope.
Whether it's the rumors that the Laramie Tunsil trade could still happen, and all of a sudden this whole conversation, we're talking about Jawaan Taylor playing right tackle.
Very different.
But it's $1.08 million base. There's like a $20,000 workout bonus. There's a signing bonus involved. But the cap hit is going to be like $1 million something and a couple $1 million in year one. So that doesn't prevent you from bringing back JuJu. It doesn't prevent you from going and signing somebody else. It doesn't prevent you from getting some of the other things done that you want to accomplish. That's what's nice about the signing yesterday.
By the way, it appears in the NFL news circles, the latest thing that's happened is Lamar Jackson has taken to Twitter.
Oh, boy.
There's a report that said Lamar Jackson turned down $200 million guaranteed back in September. He responded with a gif of a guy in disbelief. He didn't respond to that tweet that said, 3 years, $133 million fully guaranteed, but I need an agent, ? With a following tweet that said, people throw poop emoji at the wall and hope it stick. So he's saying he had 3 years for 133 fully guaranteed on paper. He's questioning that he ever had $200 million guaranteed on the table. And the Lamar Jackson saga continues.
Yeah, because by the way, if it's $200 million guaranteed, that to me seems awfully fair, and that's the deal.
Yeah, that's a little better than Kyler Murray.
That's $10 million more guaranteed. Yeah, I would sign that immediately.
By the way, to answer his question, he does need an agent.
I think.
But he says, I need an agent?
Yes, you do. Yes.
He had 3 years and $133 million fully guaranteed. He doesn't want to just give like $30 million to some dude.
Lamar, you know why you need an agent? Because agents don't do what you're doing right this second.
He literally just
is lashing out on social media.
Yeah.
You don't talk about numbers on your contract negotiation numbers publicly. That's usually not how it goes if you have an agent, if your mom's not your agent.
And I guess problematic to this is if there are teams right now that want to offer this, because right now anybody can offer, he can negotiate, anybody can offer him a contract, and then it'd be on the Ravens to match that contract, and they would have that option to do so. And if they didn't, would receive 2 first-round picks. But he's now told you the baseline number. He's saying somebody offered him 3 years for $133 million fully guaranteed. By the way, if he wants to play under a fully guaranteed contract, why not just take that? Like, I know that there could be another $70 million guaranteed, but I don't know. You can get that anyway. Have you seen, like, Jimmy G just got like $40 million guaranteed. You don't even have to be that good over the next 3 years.
I mean,
you can get another quarterback contract.
I mean, on the surface, yeah, we're like, sign me up for $133 million guaranteed. But again, when you know that Kyler Murray got $190 guaranteed,
yeah, but he had to take that over more years, you know?
Right, but it's still guaranteed money, man. Like,
I know, but Derek Carr just got what guaranteed? You don't think he can get that in a second contract after this one if he just agreed to play for 3 years?
But this is a Lamar Jackson this is part of the issue and why I don't have a problem with how teams are handling this whole thing is he also has missed double-digit games the last 2 years. If I'm that quarterback that's missed double-digit games, I want 200.
You want the 50
I don't want to lose out on
$70
$70 million in guarantee. It's still $70 million difference in guarantee. You might be right that if he's healthy, Cody, that he can roll over a new contract a year or two earlier and end up making more money. I don't disagree, but
I think he could.
If you're Lamar, where you have missed a lot of time and you're struggling to get this deal done,
look,
you get that $70 million more while you can.
Yeah, Derek Carr's like 5 years older, and he got $100 million guaranteed. So, I mean, the argument being that if he just signed this 3 for 133, if all you simply do is stay healthy and are with John Harbaugh, you're going to win. You're going to win some games. You're going to put up some good numbers. So if you just stay on the field, at the end of that 3 years, there's another huge pay for you with a bunch of guaranteed dollars.
But that goes against, I mean, that goes back to the Kirk Cousins stuff from years back with
it's
Washington.
A big risk.
But like that the whole reason why we talk about guaranteed contracts or why guys like Orlando Brown Jr. don't want to just be tagged, but
it's
they want
you could get hurt.
You want the long-term stability. We know how this goes. Like, and to you and I, sign that 133 right now. Let's go.
Feels like quite a bit of long-term security to me.
That looks good on paper.
I'm not saying $70 million more is significant, but I feel like if I had $133 million in the bank, I would just take that chance.
I don't buy a lot of the teams that have said they're not willing to talk to Lamar or negotiate. Technically that starts tomorrow at 3:00 when they can. But
all those teams lined up to say we don't want.
I just don't believe it. It makes no sense.
And now he's putting his number out on the street.
Yeah, I mean the only part that I think is true, if you're another team, is the idea that you would waste all this time negotiating with Lamar. You find a number that works. You do all the work. You get to a number. Then the Ravens, like you said, can match it. And you did all this work, and then the Ravens just match it, and you waste your time. And then it's known that you agreed to a contract with Lamar, but the Ravens matched it, and then he stays with Baltimore on.
Even though he doesn't really want to be there.
So that's the concern. Is like you did all the work on it. You finally found a number that works, and then the Ravens. There's a lot of thought that the Ravens are going to match whatever the dollar amount is anyway.
Yeah, I get the notion that like it feels like you're doing the work for Baltimore, but all you have to do is try. Also, I've made this very clear. Make it so that so much of the money you offer him is in year one that Baltimore can't. That they can't match the contract without chopping their own.
Team.
Atlanta can.
Well, I don't know if they can now. They might. I don't know if they can. I haven't looked at their. But based off, they signed that huge deal for the guard yesterday, and then today they made another move. So I don't know what their cap situation updated is. But to your point, I think there's a few teams that could do it that way. And then we know Carolina's out of it now because they just traded up for them 1 overall pick. So Carolina's out of the picture. The only way that
their
I think
report yesterday was great because they're like they are willing to trade Matt Corral. It would not take much. Was the exact phrasing. You're like, yeah, they don't want the 3rd round quarterback that they took last year when they get ready to pick number 1 overall.
There's the only thing that would be interesting. Let's say Aaron Rodgers, after all this, and it looks like the Jets are bending over backwards for Rodgers to try to make this happen. Going to maybe sign Lazard. Going to maybe agree to sign Randall Cobb. If all of a sudden Aaron Rodgers woke up tomorrow and was like, you know what? Actually, I'm done. I'm retiring, and then the Jets are effed because Derek Carr's off the market at that point. Then all of a sudden, do they have a very significant interest in Lamar Jackson? Do they feel like they almost have to at that point? Because if Lamar really
wasting a window,
if it's true that Lamar was offered 3 for 133, fully guaranteed, then how come? If I'm the Jets or if I'm any of these, how come I'm not calling Lamar Jackson's mother, who's his agent, right now?
And why wouldn't I just do 4 or 4 for 170 fully guaranteed? Just add 1 more year. You don't have to get tied up for 5 or 6 years. Just add a 4th year.
And that's why I'm hesitant on the teams not being interested, but also it's funny. We say, hey, don't believe all the reports that are out there that the Ravens might be lying when they push out the number they offered. I'm supposed to 100% just believe the number that Lamar Jackson just tweeted out is 100% truthful too? How do we know he's not playing everybody?
I don't know, man. It's hard.
What? I mean, like both sides can lie here.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It feels more genuine when it's coming from him.
I get it. I get
Point
it.
taken.
I mean, most people trust the player over the team. I get it.
Or an agent or Ian Rappaport for that
But it's just weird because he doesn't have because his mother is his agent. No, I guess we don't have any mock drafts today. Huh. Okay.
0? Guess
not.
There might be more down the road. Don't never say that. There's still 2 hours left in the show.
I was hoping for mock drafts, man. I was looking forward to the new mock draft. Does Bink have his out?
Yeah, so we have to have a conversation about that.
I thought Bink was coming out with a mock draft today.
As did I.
Oh. I'm texting Bink.
Circumstances beyond our control.
What's that mean?
Whoa. Circumstances beyond our control have pushed back the release date of Bink's mock draft until next week. So
next week?
Yeah, so we're going to have to wait
I just
7
texted
more
him,
days.
Where's the mock? All caps. Where's the mock? That means that's middle of March. We're already in middle. This is going to be in March 20th. That seems like, how is Bink going to get to mock draft 5.0s?
Listen, guys, technical concerns. Technical. Yeah, technological.
What does that mean?
I don't really have time to get into it right now.
Doesn't make any sense, I guess, is my
I mean, he either
concern
has
here.
the mock ready or he doesn't have the mock ready. You got a mock. When you got a mock, you got a mock.
I think, here's the thing. I think this is what is important to remember. I think Bink's ready to mock. Okay, Bink wants to mock. If it were up to Bink,
do you not want some mock? I'm texting him.
He would be mocking right now.
I honestly think, as somebody who works on the Character Concerns podcast, a draft-focused KC podcast.
Yes.
Since Bink can't this week, you should.
I got a lot of mock concerns.
You should give us a mock today or tomorrow, but soon.
Okay.
Beat him to market.
I don't think
get one out for your podcast.
I've never mocked before.
That's fine. First time for everything.
I tried mocking yesterday for the first time.
And?
I didn't like how it felt. It felt like I wasn't being me.
What does that mean?
I just felt like I was stepping on Bink's toes a little bit.
But he's not putting one out. At some point,
somebody's got to put mock drafts out, man.
It is that show's responsibility. Otherwise, we're just going to have to take all these ones that we find on like CBS Sports or find somewhere else, or our guy Lance who messages one every week, right? We're going to be stuck with those mocks and no Jay Binkley mock. Now?
That's not his, though.
Is this Jay Binkley's mocks out?
I just received a text, guys, from Jay Binkley.
Oh, because I texted him. He's not happy.
But it was about something else. It was not a mock draft. I do have a mock draft from a big gun, guys. Dane Brugler of The Athletic has released his latest mock draft. And this is a big one because he has the Chiefs trading up into the top 15.
Excuse me?
That's right.
Go
for
get in
what?
Jigba. Go
Actually, excuse me, the
get
top
in
16.
Jigba.
The top 16. Here is the, let me just give you the package first to get up to pick number 16 in a trade with the Washington Commanders. The Chiefs would have to give up pick number 31, pick number 63, as well as picks 134, 217, and next year's 4th round pick.
My, that is a price tag to move
15
up.
plus spots.
You're
okay.
moving up 15 spots to select
Better be a wide receiver.
edge rusher from Iowa, Lucas Van Ness. Hey, you drafted a big burly white guy last year at edge. Why don't you do it again this year?
God, I mean, do they really need to move up
I'm not a fan
15
of moving up
spots
15
for
spots
defensive
for-
end?
For that, no.
Well, guys, typically speaking, I mean, we had these conversations ad nauseum last year.
We did.
Usually you do have to go up and get edge rushers in the top 15, 20 of the draft.
We
The
did,
the
but
Chiefs
they're
kind of
coming
got,
off.
that was kind of an anomaly to get that season from Karlaftis last year.
I mean, I still feel like at 15, you're still banking on like a 5-sack season in year one. I'm not saying in the long run, like if you got Karlaftis and him together, if it works out and they both become double-digit sack guys, you're not in great shape with a high-priced Chris Jones.
Who
But
did you say did this mock?
Dane Brugler.
It wasn't Josh Klingler.
It was not Josh
Mr.
Klingler.
Iowa Hawkeye himself. It wasn't Danon Hughes either?
No, it was not Danon Hughes.
Okay, just checking.
Wait, what do you have against Iowa football?
I'm just making sure because I was surprised that that's who they would be trading up 15 spots for.
If it were in
I think
Jigba,
that-
would you have been fine with
I'm
it?
sensing
yeah, I
some.
would.
I'm sensing some.
I wanted a wide receiver.
Some
If I'm trading
Iowa,
up,
some anti-Iowa.
If I'm trading up 15 spots, I'm getting a wide receiver. Sorry.
Wait, so let's explore that a little bit.
Yep, it's pretty simple, but yeah.
Okay, simplify it. Just explain it to me like I'm a 5th grader.
If I'm going to give up 15 spots or move up 15 spots and give up that kind of draft capital after I just signed a right tackle that's going to be left tackle to a 4-year, $80 million contract, I don't want to also give up multiple picks to go up and draft edge rusher at 15. That it's not like we're getting the second best edge rusher in the draft.
You might.
But you might have gotten the second best edge rusher in the draft last year, 30 or what was it? 28. Yeah. Well,
here's my big. Honestly, I really don't want them trading up 15 spots. And if they are, it's pretty simple for me. Go get one of the top 3 wide receivers.
So I
want someone to help you this year if you're trading up
I guess
back to back.
I view edge rusher as just as much of a need, if not more, than receiver.
Oh, I want them to draft an edge rusher. I'm not trading up 15 spots for an edge rusher. Not this year.
Last
year, all on board.
I think I want something more immediately impactful for this season.
Do you think as currently stands, they're
Chris
more
Jones is coming off a 15.5 sack season. Karlaftis, I think, will improve and has a chance to be an 8 to 10 sack guy next year.
But who else do you have on the edge that you know will be back and that you trust?
The Chiefs have figured this out for multiple seasons, have they not? Have they not gone out and signed Melvin Ingrams of the world, the Carlos Dunlaps of the world? So I'm not telling you not to. You're acting like I'm saying never draft an edge rusher this year.
No, I'm talking about.
Go get it at 31. Go get in the second round, and that guy can rotate
it to 16
in.
if you're doing
Go pair me a veteran with the guy I drafted in the first or second round at edge rusher.
Especially because it's so deep at defensive end, man. Didn't everyone test like they were some sort of mutant freakazoid?
Yeah, but it's important to remember the Chiefs, specifically Spags, likes a very certain type of edge. He likes the big, long, strong guys as opposed to the speedsters like Nolan Smith.
I think they're going to have a veteran rotating in opposite Karlaftis anyway. I think they're going to have someone with experience opposite of Karlaftis. His playing time's going to increase, but someone's going to take part of the Frank Clark role, and then, also the rookie. I think you have 2 guys rotating in on that side. So you're good with it. You're good with trading up.
Yeah, I think
for him in particular, too.
Well, I think specifically edge rusher is the number 1 priority as it currently stands. Whether that be through the draft,
That's pretty much every team all the time.
I just don't love... I do like JSN, but I don't love this wide receiver class in general. So unless you can guarantee me you're getting Jackson Smith and Jigba, like if you're trading up to get Jordan Addison or Quentin Johnson, I'm not super interested.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean,
and I think that's more knowing that if you're trading up, you're likely doing it to get a very specific player. I guess at that point I would just kind of trust them, whether it's wide receiver or edge. But I do think edge is a bigger priority right now.
That is the latest mock draft. We'll have to get to the bottom of what's going on with Jay Binkley.
I don't know if it's actually the latest, but it's
new.
It's a new one.
Oh, I thought whenever we hear the stat, I figured it just dropped. We got alerts immediately.
There are so many mocks.
I figured they're just constantly dropping.
That's why we need interns.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to do something about that next week.
Totally just forgot. Totally forgot.
We'll figure that out.
In fairness, we did say we would take applications through the end of this week, so we have not we've not fallen short of that expectation yet.
Coming up next, we'll get to what's trending, and there's some movement maybe finally happening at the wide receiver market and what it means for JuJu Smith-Schuster.
You're listening to Cody and Gold.
He's so good, and everyone knows it.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right, just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend on betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/610Bob and make every moment more with FanDuel, all tournament long. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Where can you find steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless, and occasionally random stuff in the back? The Foot. Who has an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire. The Foot. Who is KC's and Topeka's only stocking dealer for Fronius professional welding equipment. The Foot. Who is KC's and Topeka's only Fronius authorized service and repair center. The Foot. Where can you go to take a Fronius welder for a test drive? The Foot. Where can you find Colossus, your friendly neighborhood robot? The Foot. Just like Colossus, Metal by the Foot stands tall and ready to help both pro and DIY warriors with their metal needs. For over 35 years, Metal by the Foot has continued to up their game by providing you with the convenience and selection of metals you have come to expect. Discover new and unique quality products to take your project and skills to the next level. Get instant pricing on most items at metalbythefoot.com. That's metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you could spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/win and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770 stop Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
Catch all the tournament action this year over at The Other Place with 3 great Kansas City locations. The Other Place is a one-of-a-kind game day experience with great food specials, great beer specials, and enough televisions that you'll catch every buzzer beater this March. The Other Place, Shawnee, Olathe, and downtown Overland Park.
You're keeping up with updated traffic and weather, but are you doing the same when it comes to COVID-19? Sign up now for reliable info on COVID-19 and a vaccine option, resources, and more at PfizerCovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you could spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/win and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770 stop Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had 2 challenges: improve their brand presence and message and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to Kansas City Steak stakes.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEBNOW1. That's 877-WEBNOW1.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
For the second time in 4 seasons, the Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection. A big red reflection. The Chiefs are champions of Super Bowl 57.
610 Sports Radio, KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, and Odyssey Station. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, some wide receiver movement finally in free agency. We'll talk more about this in depth and how it relates to JuJu Smith-Schuster in a little bit. But Jacoby Myers reportedly signing a 3-year, $33 million deal with the Las Vegas Raiders, $21 million of which is guaranteed. There's also some rumblings about Allen Lazard, former Green Bay Packers wide receiver, and the Jets nearing a deal. This all coincides with the potential landing spot for Aaron Rodgers being with the Jets. To couple Lazard with that, reports are that Randall Cobb could also be signing with the Jets. It seems like the Jets are just going to bend over backwards for Aaron Rodgers, the way that the Packers did for many years, but now, of course, are not willing to do. So as of right this second, though, Aaron Rodgers still has not been traded, but all these little micro moves and rumors continue to lead you towards him ending up with the Jets. But I think the Packers have all sorts of leverage in the last 24 hours or so because Carr's off the market, Garoppolo's off the market, and what else do you have if you're the Jets other than pulling something together from Lamar Jackson if Aaron Rodgers decided to retire?
It sure feels like they're making all these moves to try to get the Packers to just accept their trade deal or something, move it in some direction. Sure seems like Pat McAfee was saying, I don't think the Jets still know what's going on, even though we'll see. Aaron Rodgers took to Twitter last night, sent out one thing that made no sense.
Because Rasul Douglas took over the Twitter account.
And then that was it.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. That's the most recent time we've heard from Aaron Rodgers since his darkness retreat. Next up on What's Trending, Chiefs re-signed Turk Wharton to a 1-year, $2 million deal, $850,000 of which is guaranteed. Pretty much just playtime bonuses outside of that. So it's like a 1-year, $1 million deal. Reminder, he had 1 sack in 5 games last year. Looked like a decent rotational defensive lineman. This is not a big signing, but there's plenty of upside, and it cost you almost nothing for a guy that you took all the chances on anyway. He was an undrafted free agent, going to return to Kansas City just to try to keep some of their defensive line depth alive.
No reason not to just like it because if you pointed out the way it's structured. I mean, he's got to play to earn that money. It's a very little amount of money in the grand scheme of things. And, 1 sack in 5 games. So if he's someone next year, when you're thinking about how playing time is going to be split up, if he can get you 3.5 sacks next season, I'll sign up for that right now.
Yes, for $1 million, I'll take 2 sacks.
Yeah,
one. I don't know.
Had 1 last year in 5 games.
Play 10% of the snaps, and it's probably with $1 million. So it doesn't really matter.
Next up on What's Trending, Taylor Heineke, who of course played quite a bit with the Commanders over the last couple of years, filling in, and then ultimately played in a postseason game. He is now playing with the Atlanta Falcons, signing a deal there. He'll back up Desmond Ridder, presumably, although maybe a chance to play if things go south for Desmond Ridder. But a 2-year deal for Taylor Heineke. His hometown, I believe, is Atlanta as well, so makes some sense there.
Well, and they don't know who they're going to end up with at quarterback necessarily, so they might as well protect themselves a little bit and make sure that they're, comfortable in that spot. Next up on What's Trending, FIFA announced an expansion to the 2026 World Cup. Obviously, Kansas City will be one of the host cities of that. The original team amount was set to be 80. They're going to take it to 104 in what will be the matches, which will be the longest tournament in FIFA history. If you're looking for a little example of what that would be compared to, in Qatar, there were just 64 matches. Jeez. So there are going to be 40 more matches than the previous FIFA tournament.
We might get 5 or 6.
Yeah. Like at this point, whatever number you thought KC might get, increase that number. They were thinking 80. They're going to take it to 104. Jeez. As a reminder, that's because they've increased the number of teams in the tournament to 48. So there's just more countries in it.
Is this actually? I mean, it's good that.
Did you say you love it in every other sport? Like you said, you like the expansion of the NFL playoffs.
Is it good that all these countries are getting in? It's more. It just seems like a money grab at this point.
Probably, but I mean that's the same as the NFL adding playoff teams. They're not trying to get more good teams in. They just wanted more money for a 7th playoff team. Every team does this because there is a point that just it jumps up.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't know if I need the World as much as I love the World Cup this past year. I don't know if I need like 2 months of World Cup. You know what I mean?
Well, we're getting ready for that. And it's going to be in Kansas City that entire time. So prepare yourself
the
for
next
2026.
One, people here won't care about expansion because it's going to equate to more games in Kansas City.
And additional matches in Kansas City
though,
is fantastic news.
It's good for 2026. But beyond that, we'll see. Next up on What's Trending, we were just talking about how the Jets are trying to do anything possible. Adam Schefter just tweeted out, Packers veteran free agent tight end Mercedes Lewis, spent 5 years with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, has drawn interest from the New York Jets, along with the Raiders, but from the New York Jets.
Wow,
so Aaron Rodgers really is like, hey, I'll play with you guys. Don't even have to pay me, but I want anybody I ever liked that I played with.
Is Donald Driver available?
Yeah,
I mean, is he like really gone down the list a little bit?
Bubba Franks.
Yeah, great. Yeah, get Greg Jennings in there. Just do whatever. I mean, talk about desperation. He's literally getting them to do anything possible because he's got all the leverage.
Green somewhere floating around.
Yeah.
He's just like, what are the last 15 years worth of Aaron Rodgers?
Sterling
players?
Sharp.
Jeez.
Weird. The Jets are desperate. They smell of desperation. You should never reek this much of desperation.
Imagine being like this young upstart surprise team and say, you know what we should do? Let's sell the farm. Let's sell the farm for a 39-year-old quarterback and all of his buddies.
Yeah. Dude, quarterbacks will make you do crazy things. It's just reality.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Keep an eye on what other former Packers get linked to the Jets. We'll let you know, update the track. Right now it's Randall Cobb, it's Mercedes Lewis, and Alan Lazard. Again, Alan Lazard one makes sense. It's a player that would
That's
be
one of the better free agent wide receivers.
The other ones, though, I mean, he just got them bad. He can do whatever he wants for the Jets right now.
He ought to ask for that Russell Wilson office at this point. He's definitely going to get it if he wants it, right?
Oh, if the Jets want to get him, he's going to need to sign. They're going to need to sign the players he's asking for. But it does reach a certain point where it's like, that's your solution. Like,
in fairness, those are probably all guys on like 1-year deals that you can just walk on anyway. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't show up, you're not winning the Super Bowl without Aaron Rodgers anyway. Who the hell would their quarterback be if it's not Aaron Rodgers this year? Even like Taylor Heineke and Mike White aren't options.
They're out of options because Garoppolo and Carr. The only one after, if Aaron Rodgers just decided to retire tomorrow instead of play, you would have to all of a sudden be all in on Lamar Jackson. You would have to make it work.
Or trade up in the first round.
You're at 13, so yeah.
I mean, I don't know that you'd have another choice besides that.
We mentioned during What's Trending the wide receiver market, which had been pretty quiet. Some movement today. Jacoby Myers, which was someone that we had brought up here in Kansas City, maybe if JuJu
I told you I was interested in it.
Yes, 3-year, $33 million deal with the Raiders, $21 million guaranteed. That's a reasonable contract. It's a really reasonable contract. And it actually should bode well, we think, for JuJu's contract from a team perspective. Now, I think JuJu can get more than that. But if we were concerned and you and I thought he had a chance to get to the $18 to $20 million range, it doesn't seem like it. So that, to me, increases the likelihood of JuJu coming back to Kansas City. Like, if we're not too far off of that dollar amount, then why not? I mean, Marquez Valdez-Scantling last year signed a 3-year for $30 with $15 guaranteed. Jacoby Myers just signed 3 for $33 with $21 guaranteed.
Like, I think that I can't believe I was this far off in the wide receiver market, but I think I've decided it's because of the athleticism. It's not just that there are a limited number of wide receivers available, Gold. It's there's a limited number of wide receivers available who are the better athletes. Like, that's not meant to knock JuJu or Jacoby Myers down a lot. They're very effective wide receivers who do a nice job, but they're not the speedster types. Because everyone talks themselves into they'll be better with us. That happened with MVS. We talked about it on this show. I'm like, nah, man, he is who he is. You're like, I don't know. He's never played with Mahomes. I'm like, I played with an MVP guy. You're like, but it's easier to talk yourself into that if you're a team because with great athleticism and speed, you assume comes some level of unlocked version of the player you haven't gotten yet. Nobody thinks that about Jacoby Myers, and nobody thinks that about JuJu Smith-Schuster. They're possession guys, but they are really good at that job. I pointed out earlier, Jacoby Myers has had 3 seasons of more catches and yards than MVS has ever had. And he got the same deal? Logically, you would think he got more, but MVS is fast. So it's just not the way it works. So I think it bodes great for the JuJu Smith-Schuster deal. At this point now, I think the maximum deal out there for JuJu Smith-Schuster is like 3 for $40. Which is like $20 million less than I thought the max might be. Nick, you were also in that conversation. Do you officially think Juju's number is lower than we all thought it was? Because we all thought, how could he be this cheap? It doesn't make sense.
I wonder, I've kind of flip-flopped back and forth because near the tail end of the season, I wondered, okay, with how bad this market is going to be, is he clearly number one? And if he's clearly number one, how much more is he going to get than number two?
Jacoby Myers was like a pretty solid 2, though. Lazard was a solid 2. We haven't seen Lazard's number. His deal with the Jets isn't done or anything.
Here's what I wonder with JuJu. Is he more valuable to the Chiefs than he is to most other teams in the NFL?
Yes.
With how they used him. They basically used him to take pressure off Travis Kelce. Hey, we're going to have you doing a lot of the same stuff. We're going to have you running across the middle, just finding those soft spots in the zones. You're going to do some yards after the catch, but you're not doing a lot of downfield threat stuff that you see typically from number one receivers. Nobody else is bringing JuJu in to be their number one, or very few teams are bringing JuJu in to be their number one. If that's the case, does he not have a little bit of leverage with the Chiefs knowing that they really want him back?
But I mean, at this point, and you're right, because he does or makes more value sense probably to them. But there are always teams that are going to need a guy like JuJu Smith-Schuster. It's not like they were the only one in on him when he was deciding between Pittsburgh and Kansas City. But I do think, similar to what we talked about with Orlando Brown Jr., there probably is like a limited market for JuJu Smith-Schuster. I don't think there were 30 teams that would have happily taken Tyreek Hill, right? Here's just or Devontae Adams. There's some wide receivers. I don't care what team you are, you'll take on that player. And I get it that JuJu's not at that level of play, but, like Jacoby Myers' deal, that's the 28th highest paid wide receiver. JuJu's like the 28th best wide receiver in the NFL, based on yardage and catches and targets and value to the Chiefs.
I would still prefer JuJu over Jacoby Myers. And that was
Same,
before,
I just mentioned Myers over Lazard.
And that was before Myers signed today. It has nothing to do with the fact that JuJu's now one of the only guys left. I do think it puts more pressure on you finding a way to get a deal done with JuJu, though, because if you don't bring back JuJu, you have the draft, but if you're looking for a veteran wide receiver, like you're trying to get Allen Lazard, who's reportedly, going to go with the Jets, like you start to get
there was a mystery team mentioned in that tweet earlier today.
And look,
Chiefs could be the
Odell
mystery
Beckham Jr. still out there. I just question you're relying on a guy that is coming off missing a full season with an ACL injury. He's on the wrong side of 30. Look, if you want to sign JuJu and then also bring in Odell on a one-year incentive-laden deal, then I'm all about that. But I don't necessarily think you can talk yourself into saying, oh, we can pick Beckham over JuJu. I don't agree with that.
What's the most you'd give JuJu?
I still would go over 40. I'd still go, if you told me it was a
3 for 45?
Yeah, that'd be the top end. I don't think you have to get there. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I think the number's lower, because now it doesn't seem like you got to get there. But it would not, if you're looking at Myers 3 for 33, like JuJu still might cost 3 for 41 or 3 for 42. Like there still might be that viewed as, in the Chiefs' mind, that gap between those two guys. We'll see. I mean, text line saying 3 for 54. You don't have to go that high. You don't have to go that high. That you just be giving away money at that point.
But the guaranteed money will be more than like what MVS got a year ago, right? Or what Jacoby Myers just got.
Yeah, Jacoby got $21 million guaranteed. MVS got on a 3-year deal $15 million guaranteed. JuJu could get 3 for 40. That's $28 million guaranteed. I'm just throwing out numbers.
Like a 2-year, basically making it a 2, because that's what MVS's deal basically is, right? We knew that upon the signing. We can look at 3 for 30, but it was basically a 2 for 20 deal. I would imagine JuJu's getting, like 2 for 28, 2 for 30. You're comfortable with that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't see much risk there. I mean, it still means that you have no long-term answer at wide receiver, and you're going to have to keep taking shots at the draft until you find a number one guy. But, I mean, that's probably a risk we're taking.
But that's how you do business. That's how you handle the wide receiver position in the NFL right now.
I've seen, I saw it on the text line and a couple times now, so I think it's interesting. Clearly people are thinking about it. They said, someone from the 0-6, JuJu's been on free agency wide receiver list for the last 3 seasons. The league doesn't view him like that. I push back on the notion, though, that like because he's been out there for the last 3 seasons and hasn't got a multi-year deal. You know what's different about this past season?
He played most of the year and
He
produced.
played all but, 2 games, nearly 1,000 yards, and won a Super Bowl. Played in the postseason. So, yeah, you're right. 2 years ago, he was available and only got a 1-year deal as well. You know why? It's because he was coming off last year, the year prior to this, when the Chiefs signed him. He was coming off a shoulder injury. He played like 2 games. So, yeah, I don't think it's fair to say that, well, the market was this 2 years ago, so it's the same market today. No, it's not. The wide receiver market's also just different. But he's coming on. He's still on under 28, and he had his most productive season in 3 years? So that's the only other part that I think is interesting. Real quick, though, we talked yesterday about Austin Eckler seeking permission to get a trade, and the Chargers reportedly, according to Adam Schefter, have granted permission to Eckler to seek a trade after the two sides have continued to fail to make progress on a new contract. So
what team makes the most sense? Buffalo?
New England, Buffalo, somewhere like that.
Not New England. Why would
Who
you go
wants
there?
to? It's
They're not
one
gonna
thing.
pay you.
It's one thing to say
New
who
England,
would
though, like-
sign. It's one thing to say who would
Trade
sign
for-
Austin Eckler. Who's going to sign or trade and then sign?
Yeah, trade and then give him the
Here's
money
the
he
thing.
wants.
It doesn't cost anything to trade for running backs.
No, it would be like a 4th round pick.
Yep. And you're always like, wait, but he has had like 50 touchdowns. You're like, doesn't matter. Not important. He's like a third, low third. Probably get him.
Think about teams that have money, right? So the Bears are automatically in this conversation just because they have the most cap.
Reportedly, they might be
Like,
shopping David Montgomery, too.
If I were the Bears, I'd do it immediately. That is the most stopgap, safety valve, running back, wide receiver combination of all time for your quarterback. Why wouldn't you? He's good for 80 catches a year. That's exactly the kind of guy you need with Justin Fields. So what? You got to pay him what? What's a contract extension for Austin Eckler? Like 3 for 30? It's a lot for running backs, but what is it? What is it? $8 million a year with almost $20 million in guarantees? Like, if I were the Bears, I would do it instantaneously almost.
That's the one. That's going to be crazy when we look back on this. Well, maybe it'll just be like this forever, but we'll look back on it and we'll be like, hey, remember that 2-year stretch where Austin Eckler had like 40 touchdowns and then the Bears signed him to a 2-year, $11 million contract? You'd be like, what? These guys didn't make any money.
But that's what running backs are. It's always like, it is kind of borderline shocking how little they get. What was the last big running back traded?
Traded?
Yeah.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey?
during the season.
Oh, yeah. What did he get? What was it? Because you're probably not getting that back for Austin Eckler, even though he's been just as good. Like, he's been just as good as Christian McCaffrey lately because he's been healthy. But, I mean,
Christian McCaffrey was traded for a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Okay, that's pretty good value back, but you're not getting that for Austin Eckler, who is older and not Christian
And
McCaffrey
is $12 million, $12 million, $12 million the next 3 years.
Yeah, I think it's 3 for 30 for Austin Eckler. I think you're thinking 3 for 30 extension. Like, that includes this final year.
They're just giving him the Jacoby Meyer deal, basically.
Yes. And he catches maybe just as many passes as Jacoby Meyer?
Yeah.
Doesn't he? Jacoby Myers, didn't he catch
Scores a hell of a lot more.
Way more. He's got like 28 touchdowns over the last 2 years.
Honestly, that's the wildest thing is that we're seeing NFL offenses evolve and we're seeing more running backs be legitimate threats out of the backfield. And only like one of them, Christian McCaffrey is basically the only one who gets paid. It's like, hey, these are guys out here catching 60, 70 passes a year. And like, we don't care. You're a running back. So.
Yeah, because it's like, when did they take you? Oh, you were undrafted. Not real interested. You have to have gone already in the top 5 for them to care about you. Like, somebody had to already think of you as a top 5 player for them to even take you seriously in that regard. I'll bet it's like a 3rd. Don't you think? It's like a third round pick to get Austin Eckler. Also,
I'd
will
rather
he
have
actually get traded?
I'd rather have Austin Eckler than Odell Beckham Jr.
For the Chiefs? Well, he's never coming here.
Well,
Chargers,
I would rather have
Chargers not trading him to Kansas City.
You know what? We need to
Also,
do away with that. We need to do away with this. Like, oh, they're not going to trade in the division. Just do it. Just do it. Who cares?
And also, we're talking about other teams that have the money to go spend 3 for 30 on a running back or whatever. Yeah, Kansas City to me is not the team. We just got done earlier in the show saying how they're not going to maybe spend money much at wide receiver and just load up on the O-line. I don't think they're going to start spending $12 million a year on their running backs.
Well,
they did use a first-round pick on running backs, so they value it.
And that turned out really well.
It didn't go great, but, sometimes when you make a mistake, just double down.
Just trade Clyde to the Chargers.
No.
We'll take Eckler here in Kansas City, and we'll
I
go
swear to God, rather than pay Eckler, I'd rather Nick's plan of drafting Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's cheaper.
I would so much rather that
That's
plan.
cheaper. Let's do that.
Yeah, I don't like either, but yes, I would prefer the rookie
choose
running
one.
back. I would choose the rookie running back.
All right,
contract.
so there you have it.
Yeah.
Gold officially advocates for drafting Bijan Robinson in the first round.
If my only other option, life or death, is Austin Eckler, yes.
I just like the idea that anytime we have these scenarios, that there's a guy in a room who's forcing Brett Veach at gunpoint. You can either make these two decisions, you have to do it, or it's over for you. You're like, I guess I'll draft Bijan Robinson? Thanks, man. A little intense, but okay.
It's kind of dark.
Yeah, very.
Mm-hmm.
You went there, man.
I did.
Text lines figured it out,
sick
man.
Puppy.
Text lines figured it out. 913-586-7610. We got Justin Ross, so we're good.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Never fails.
Not a day goes by on this show and we talk about off-season plans where someone brings up Justin Ross,
Matter of fact,
the guy that hasn't done anything yet.
New rule: we need money for the show fund. If you ever tweet Justin Rod in the text line, you are obligated to send the show $1 on Venmo.
Unless you want to get blocked.
I will block anyone who sends Justin Ross here moving forward and doesn't send this show $1 on Venmo. It is the price for bringing up his name on this show.
Justin Ross has caught 46 passes since 2019.
That's right.
And they were in college.
Mm-hmm. You can't count on anything from him. We'll say for the last time.
We'll
talk about it again. If he happens to make the roster and make the active roster this year, that's a win.
It's like a swear jar.
That's a win.
He's in our swear jar.
He had a good year in 2018 in college.
Right. 2018 was a great year, wasn't it?
Great national championship game.
It was 5 years ago.
We're at 2023, man.
2018, you weren't even in. You were still living in Houston.
I was.
You weren't even in this city 5 years ago when Justin Ross was doing important things.
That's right.
Nick, what were you doing 5 years ago? Were you hosting the show in Lawrence?
He was in Lawrence.
Mm-hmm. Getting after it.
Fresh-faced? Was that a pretty new show for you then? How long did you do that one? 5-6 years?
I started in 2016, 2015, 2016.
You were well established. You were practically running that town by then.
Okay. Do you want to just go through my resume?
No, that's fine. Just want people to know where your background is, Nick, in case they hadn't established that on the show or couldn't Google you.
Glad we had that conversation at the end.
I'm as well.
Yeah. Hey, coming up next, though, who's going to outlast the other? Cody has an idea in the conference and the division next.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
You talk on the radio. Yeah. You're a fanboy.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Hey guys, it's Nick. I've been trying to get in better shape for a while now, and I'm finally trying to commit to an actual plan. One thing that's been super helpful in kickstarting this healthier lifestyle is this product called 213 Flashpoint. It's a powder I mix with water in the morning about 30 minutes before breakfast, gives me an energy boost, kickstarts my metabolism, and it helps curb those cravings throughout the day. What I used to do was eat some breakfast in the morning, then by 10 o'clock I'm starving again, eat a little snack to tide me over, a couple more hours pass, and it's noon. The wheels have completely fallen off the wagon. I'm grabbing a bag of chips or whatever other junk is within arm's reach. I went to Supplement Superstores. They did two things that have changed everything for me. They made a custom meal plan, and they introduced me to 213 Flashpoint. 213 Flashpoint isn't some sort of miracle supplement. It just helps me stick to doing the stuff I already know I needed to do. It gives me a nudge in the right direction that I need, and it's really made a difference in how I get through the day. I really think it could help you too. Check out 213 Flashpoint at any of the 8 Supplement Superstores locations in the KC metro area.
Catch the basketball tournament pizza special only at Old Shawnee Pizza. Get a medium one-topping pizza with a small order of breadsticks for only $16.99. Call or go to ShawneePizza.com today. Only at Old Shawnee Pizza. 2 locations, Shawnee and Lenexa.
Spring is in the air, and that means one thing. Dandelions are coming. Don't let those annoying yellow weeds invade your lawn again. This year, trust your lawn to Ryan Lawn & Tree. This is Larry Ryan. No other lawn care company delivers the results that Ryan Lawn & Tree delivers. More than just providing a beautiful dandelion-free lawn. Your trusted pros in the clean red trucks make sure your entire landscape is healthy, strong, and ready to look great no matter what nature throws at it. And unlike the other guys, the pros at Ryan Lawn & Tree are employee owners, full-time professionals going above and beyond every day with 5-star customer service. Call us or click RyanLawn.com today. And as a new customer, you'll save 50% on your first lawn application. Enjoy a worry-free, effort-free, dandelion-free lawn this year with Ryan Lawn & Tree.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/win and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager. Only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
At Shane Company, we have fine jewelry for every personality. With the largest selection of unique styles, it'll be easy to find something perfect for you.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
Well, someone did. That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code GOLF. Use code GOLF for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Wendy's 2 for $6 lets you mix and match some of our best items, like Dave Single with a 10-piece crispy nugs, medium strawberry lemonade with a spicy chicken sandwich, spicy chicken with a Dave Single with a strawberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, if you're into that. Chicken Sam, crispy nugs, strawberry lemonade, Dave's, nugs, Sam. Whew. Pick what you want at a price you want. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's 2 for $6. For a limited time, price and participation may vary at U.S. Wendy's. On the card only. Single item at regular price.
Guys, fellas, men, are you Roman ready for the weekend? Right now, generic Viagra, aka Sildenafil, is just $4 per dose at Roman. Just complete a free online visit with a U.S. licensed healthcare professional. If medication is appropriate, Roman sends what you need in discreet packaging with free 2-day shipping. Generic Viagra from $4 at Roman. Go to ro.co/Viagra. Do it today and get 20% off your entire first order. That's ro.co/Viagra.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This report is brought to you by Charles River Labs. Discover the difference. This is your moment. Charles River Labs is a visionary leader in the development and delivery of advanced drug therapies. Be part of a team that is focused on improving global health while providing a culture of teamwork, diversity, and sustainability. This is your moment. Opening soon in Overland Park. Learn more at jobs.criver.com.
Coverage of opening day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal opportunity employer.
I was lying on the grass of Sunday morning of last week.
Hanging out here on a Tuesday, it's Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Nick Schwartz. Get to the random question of the day in a couple of minutes. Keeping an eye on the NFL free agency officially starts tomorrow afternoon, but as we know, that hasn't stopped anything going on. Legal tampering window. Things a little quieter today on the Chiefs front, but it was around this time yesterday where all of a sudden we got the Andrew Wiley news, and then 20 minutes later it was the Jawaan Taylor news. So we'll see what the next hour and a half brings here on the show if we get any news on the JuJu front or any other type of deals. You were mentioning to me a tweet from Colin Saunders on Twitter, which was pretty funny.
It's so good. It just says, quote, Jesus Christ, I'm not built for this free agency. My whole life at any level, I've been the unifier in the locker room. So my relationships with my dogs be different, be personal. This S feels like transferring schools from my best friends, and my big ass been emotional as hell. That's a great way to describe, I don't want to go through free agency. I like it here, and I like my friends.
My guess is with Colin Saunders or, taking a look at what they got from Mike Dana as well, or I guess they'll have Dana back, but Colin Saunders and Derek Nottie, those two guys, there's a chance they can make some more money elsewhere. You and I don't think both are coming back. Maybe you can keep one of them, but between Colin Saunders and Derek Nottie, I don't think both will be back because I think much like Andrew Wiley, right? Those guys contributed on a Super Bowl team, and someone's going to pay you a little bit more.
Well, Colin Saunders definitely feels like you can buy with a chance of getting better value going forward because he played his best this previous season. He'd been hurt in other years, which I think he was correcting, he was responding to someone on Twitter about that as well. And it feels like this is the time where he might actually hit a peak for a few years. Feels like a good offseason signing for somebody. So, yeah, I'd be kind of surprised if he doesn't get more money elsewhere. But they're going to want to maintain defensive line depth somewhere. I just don't know which guy it's going to be. As we pointed out, who knows what kind of deal you're going to end up getting on that end. And if rotational defensive linemen, they do kind of come and go, even if it sucks for Colin Saunders. A player I'd be interested in keeping in Kansas City, obviously.
Yeah, I think a lot of Chiefs fans would. He's someone that was in danger, we all thought, in camp last year of maybe being a cut, right?
Yeah.
And then he ended up having a really nice season for the Chiefs. He got in that rotation. It also helped, when Turk Warden went down and went on IR with that injury after week 5 or so. So we'll keep an eye on things to see if there's any movement. Again, the Chiefs, even with the Jawaan Taylor signing yesterday, really didn't add much to their cap situation for this upcoming year. We know they also have other avenues to clear out some more space. If they think there's another big signing or move to come, they could save some money away with something with Chris Jones. They could save money right away if they wanted to convert some of Patrick Mahomes' contracts. So they
could also convert Toonies. They just got to commit to him for a longer period of time.
And do they need it? The question is, do they need to create this space? Is there somebody out there and a move out there that requires year one of that new deal to have that money? Is something with JuJu requiring more money up front? Is there something with, we've mentioned the rumors earlier, which we'll get back into in the 1 o'clock hour, that some believe down in Houston, at least Aaron Wilson, that, maybe the Tunzel trade could actually happen, where this noise about Tunzel playing, Jawaan Taylor playing left tackle, that might all just be some BS that's being thrown out there intentionally to try to make sure things don't blow up on a potential trade conversation. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But back to the AFC West in particular, a division the Chiefs own and dominate, 7 straight AFC West titles. You have one new coach part of the equation now in Sean Payton. We saw the Chargers news, Eckler's being potentially shopped, receiving permission for a trade. We know that the Broncos went out and signed a couple tight ends, also a couple offensive linemen. And the Raiders today signing Jacoby Myers, and then yesterday signing Jimmy Garoppolo. It got you thinking about longevity in this division.
I just think when you really think about the division where the coaches are, I think we've had these conversations about Andy Reid, how long he's going to coach, what the next decade of success looks like for them, Gold, as it relates to Andy Reid's ability to be there. I'll be honest with you. I think he's going to outlast every other coach in this division. I think 2 are fairly easy. Staley and McDaniel's not long for this world. He's going to ride out the rest of his contract because they're poor. He's never going to win enough. They are the worst team in the division. They have continued to be right around the bottom end team of this division. Maybe it's the Broncos, maybe it's them. But they are one of the worst teams in the division. Josh McDaniels not going to solve his problems with Jimmy G. And Derek Carr last year. It's not going to go way better. They added an extra weapon in Jacoby Myers to go with Devontae Adams if he doesn't try to get himself run out of town, and Darren Waller and all those. But their defense still stinks. They're not going to solve their problems. They're awful, and I don't think he's a good head coach, so he's gone. I think that Brandon Staley's got a big problem because if he continues to not win playoff games with a rookie Justin Herbert, they'll find a different coach who will do the next year big contract thing with him. and then he's screwed. So the only guys left is Sean Payton. And honestly, I can see him getting real tired of it real quick. And I don't know why that seems totally out of question and why I brought up the entire thing like I would have been out of the Sean Payton business anyway. He cost $18 million a year, reportedly. I think that was the Football Morning in America reported the dollar amount. And he quit. He quit on his last team. So I don't know why he wouldn't quit on this one if it sucks after 3 years.
Yeah, so, I mean, the compensation that was required to get him, right, I think is what deterred a lot of teams from the opening, right? That narrowed it down. Other teams didn't feel like it was worth giving him that money, Cody, and draft pick compensation. You're right on Staley and McDaniel. They both could be gone in 2 years. Nobody would think you're crazy on that whatsoever. To me, you're asking really, do I think Andy Reid is coaching 5 more years? Because I think Sean Payton will be in Denver for at least 4 to 5 years. And the reason for that is it's not like he's surprised that he's got Russell Wilson as his quarterback. When he got hired, he knew he has Russell Wilson. He is going to have to deal with that for at least 3 years based on the contract Russell Wilson signed. And you're right, he did quit on the Saints and decided to hang it up for 1 year. He was there for 15 years, so I have a hard time putting the quit like, oh, he quit.
I know, man, but times got tough, and he's like, I'm going to dip.
He quit on the Saints after being in one place. Things get stale for 15 years. I don't think that means that, and after 2 or 3 in Denver, he's just going to hang it up. I also think with ownership there, that was clearly probably some part of the agreement as well. I think Sean Payton's coaching for at least 4 years in Denver. So really, again, it's really whether or not you think Andy Reid is coaching past that. And you and I, go back to 2020, had said when some people were questioning whether Andy was only going to coach 3 or 4 more years, you and I had said, why would you leave Patrick? If you're healthy,
he's already pretty much at that number, isn't he?
Yeah. If you're healthy, and this will be 4 since we talked about that. If you're healthy, you don't pass up working with a generational, all-time great quarterback who now you've won 2 rings with already, by the way. Why do you not think you can't, and over the next 5 years, win at least 1 more?
I have a really hard time imagining ever wanting to leave this job by choice. And we've pointed out the age of other coaches, like just based on age, right? Like Bill Belichick's age. You're like, well, he's getting up there, right? And you're like, but he's like 5-6 years younger than Andy. Like Andy Reid's 5 or 6 years younger than Bill Belichick. Hell, he might be a decade younger than Pete Carroll, right? Is anybody wondering if Pete Carroll's getting ready to be done? He just completely revamped the way he was doing his things.
I think it's his youthful energy too, right? A lot of people we see him on the sideline. He's more active as a head coach on the sideline, right? Doesn't mean that other coaches don't motivate their team. We obviously know Andy does.
Well, here's the thing: Andy's never lost his desire to coach football, his creativity, his desire. He's always changing, right?
Yeah, but to your point about Pete Carroll, I think it's because
just acts younger.
He's chewing his gum 100 miles an hour. He's running on the sideline. He's still a very active head coach and emotional on the sideline, and so that also makes it seem like he seems much younger than the 70s.
I know, but he's 7 years younger than Andy Reid. Like I know
older.
Yeah, older than Andy Reid. I mean, if we had to redo this conversation, let's just for a second entertain that because we did this conversation like 3-4 years ago. How many years do you think you can lock in as Andy Reid as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs right now? How many years starting right now? 2023 regular season, that counts as 1.
Yeah, I'll say 4 more years.
I think it's 5. This is why, but this is also I think Sean Payton might only be there 3. But even if it's 4 or 5, if I think Andy's got another 5 here that I can lock in, that means I think there's a chance that there's more than that on the back end for Andy Reid too. This all comes down to a health thing. Is there some health thing that that comes up that we're not aware of that causes him to think about changing his mind about this? But I'll say Andy is definitively the I want, and my whole life is based around the idea of being an NFL football coach. I don't even know what Andy would want to do with his time if it wasn't this. We don't all identify by our careers, but Andy Reid is NFL football. To me, the notion that the things we talked about earlier in the show, the fact that he's continued to innovate and change and develop and change the way he thinks and acts and processes, that's the most clear sign to me that he's not done with it. We saw, like I always point out, the Kansas example is a great one. Charlie Weiss took that Kansas deal because he was ready. He didn't care about coaching anymore. He just wanted to check gold, right? He wasn't trying to do anything. He wasn't trying to do anything hard. He's just like, I'll just take a bunch of JUCO kids. I'm just going to try to get through this. Doesn't matter. I'm not really interested in doing this. I'm not trying to innovate. I'm not trying to do anything different. I'm just trying to collect this.
All right, enough. We get it. We get it. Charlie Weiss stunk. KU football stinks. Move on.
Okay.
Kansas.
You took it too far, pal.
Did I?
Hey.
It's a good time. You don't have to be defensive about Kansas football. You guys are not peak, but you're better.
Hey, Kansas needed that power surge. That power surge was Charlie Weiss.
Well, Schanzinger went out to find the best.
He went out to find the best, yeah.
And he found.
And then there was
Charlie Weiss.
That's who he found. He told us that's who he found. Yeah, he needed to find that power surge. And that power surge was Charlie Weiss, man.
Is that what he called it?
Yeah, basically
power
something
surge?
like that. I'm very
His
close
exact.
to that, yeah.
Well, he came back after when he came back at the introductory press conference. He said, "I set out to find the best, and I found Charlie Weiss." It's like, set out again. You should have set out for longer then. Chart a different course.
Yeah, but sometimes, like maybe if you're not looking for it, you still find it, It's like Magellan. Like I sought out to find a different path to India, and I didn't quite turn into that, but it worked out okay. In this case of the Charlie Weiss.
Let's not get into Magellan.
Really?
He's a problematic character now.
Most people in history are. We don't have to go back down the road of every time I bring up that Thomas Edison sucks on this show, I get buried by somebody who's offended that I even brought it up.
I like the Charlie Weiss line from Schanzinger. My favorite one, though, and I used to have a T-shirt. It's funny as Carrington walks in because he, I think, was one of his favorite T-shirts as well. That said from Turner Gill is a quote at a press conference that said, "I'm not coming here to use it as a stepping stone to a football dynasty, but rather to create a football dynasty here at KU. I hope to be here 15 or 20 years because if I'm here 15 or 20 years, that will mean we have done well." It's like an all-time.
Almost.
It's an all-time.
Didn't quite make it.
How short did he follow that?
Just a couple
about
years.
14.
Just a couple years short. Just a couple. Yeah.
Do you hate, as Kansas fans, do you guys hate Turner Gill or Charlie Weiss more?
Charlie Weiss. Not even close.
Not even close.
Turner Gill was real bad.
He was bad, but he's he's a really good person, frankly, and stuff. Versus like
where's David Beatty rank in this?
Beatty and Weiss are neck and neck for the worst.
Yeah, Charlie Weiss 100% out of the last 15 years was the worst. Turner Gill was not a good football coach, but
he was a nice
had
person.
some respect for the man.
It's tough. It's like asking, would I rather have my ween slammed in a car door, or would I rather have my fingernails ripped off with a pair of needle-nose pliers? I don't know. I can't decide.
Let's get to the random question of the day.
Random questions.
There it is. 913-586-7610. Which one do you prefer?
Which would you rather have? Your ween slammed in a car door.
Can't understand a word he's saying.
Or your fingernails pried off with needle-nose pliers. Gold? Feel free to answer first.
Oh, my gosh. I think the answer is the car door. As bad as that is and as painful
God, the car door? No way.
Here's why.
Rip off my fingernails.
Here's why. Here's the logic behind it, because they're both all horrendous. The fingernail, how many fingers do you have on each hand?
10.
Yeah. So 10 separate times you're feeling that pain. That's why the answer is the other. As bad as the pain is for the other, but like 10 different times you're feeling that. That's why.
I'll take the risk. I'll take the risk. I'll take the risk that 10 times I got to feel that versus the one time at the car door. There's no way I'm choosing car door.
Yeah, but it's 10 different times the fingernail's getting pulled off.
Don't
Cody.
care, man.
10 different times.
I value my penis more than you, and I think that's established.
Well, I'm glad you value yours. You're correct. More than I do yours. You're correct. Thank you for phrasing it that way. Yes.
And this is what you get for bringing up Kansas football.
This is what happens?
Uh-huh.
Someone says, what state is your, as Nick would put it, ween in at the time?
Does
it matter?
I mean, that's bad to think about.
I honestly, man, I think I'm with Cody. I think I just rip him off, man. Rip him off.
10 separate fingers, though.
But you know what I can go do? But you know what I can go do after I get my fingernails ripped off? I can go.
No, I don't think you're going to do. I don't think. Yeah. I don't think that's happening. Someone says they're 55 years old. They're not using it anyway. Oh, goodness.
Man.
Yeah.
This wasn't my planned random question for what it's worth, but that's fine. We'll do a different one tomorrow. I wasn't going to ask your favorite pie anyway.
This is a fair point. Why do you think in torturing tactics and movies they use the pulling of the fingernails as one of their go-tos?
Yeah, but that's the first
because they can't do full frontal nudity in an action movie.
And also the implication is that it's gonna get worse.
And the fingernails,
they always start with the fingernails. That's one of the first
Cody,
tortures.
It's 10 fingernails, and they're not just coming off clean in one pull. So like the pain off the fingernail is it's probably more than 10 separate instances of pain.
Like, oh man, I'm imagining both of them. I'm going back and forth, imagining each scenario, and they both just make my skin crawl.
Oh yeah, this is not comfortable. This is not a comfortable segment because it's the pain. You can feel the pain. Everybody listening can feel the pain as well.
It's just like imagining either is just.
But I'll tell you what, man, the one that makes me cringe a little bit more is the fingernail one. Oddly enough.
I think that is the answer to the most painful. The other one has more impactful long-term effects, right? If we're like long-term effects, that one's devastating. The fingernail, I think, in the moment is the most painful. Not even close. 10 fingernails.
Ugh. Yeah, you're probably right. It's like more about those will grow back. Long-term ramifications the other way around.
You can't risk it.
Nah.
You have to take the more pain in the short.
Someone says, "Am I a bad person if I choose to have both done simultaneously?" What?
To what? Distract from the pain?
Yeah, why do you need both?
Oh, man.
Someone says they're going to pass out listening to this.
I hope nobody's listening to this at their job or workplace.
They had to turn the volume down for this discussion.
Yeah, somebody
Use headphones at your desk.
Somebody from the 913 mentions the James Bond torture. I think it was Skyfall, or it was one of the new ones with Daniel Craig where he's sitting in the chair with no bottom on it, and he's naked, and he's tied to the chair, and they take the rope with the big knot, and they whoosh.
Yeah.
That would not be good.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. Thank you for bringing that up today, Nick. I don't know how we got there.
It's because
talking about Charlie Weiss and Turner Gill and David Beatty too.
Cody asked which was
fingernails.
He thought he was being
Cody asked who was worse between David Beatty and Charlie Weiss, and I said that's like choosing between getting your ween slammed in a car door and having your fingernails ripped off.
I don't know how we're gonna. There's just no way we can do another topic for the next 5 minutes that isn't this. So either I can ask a second random question, or we can talk about literally anything else.
Yeah. Go ahead and give us a different question. Go ahead and switch it up. Give us another question. Yeah.
You know what? I said I wasn't going to do this, but we'll do it now because we've got about 4 minutes before we need to go to break. What's your favorite pie? Nice transition. It's pie. That wasn't my planned one either, but I'm going to say that for tomorrow. It's Pie Day. 3.14, right, Nick, as you pointed out earlier? What's your favorite kind of pie? A much more wholesome way to end this
Several
hour.
texters pointing out
silk pie.
I got the movie wrong.
It
was
Casino
James Bond
Royale?
Casino Royale.
Okay. We knew what scene you were talking about, though.
Yeah, pizza pie.
I'll go French
choose
silk.
Fruit or chocolate.
Wait,
pie, dessert. I want a
now
dessert
you're telling
pie.
him what pies he can make?
I'm dessert pie. That's what everybody means when they say pie.
What?
I think we just learned today, like, you're already not using the same version of pie as what it actually is.
French silk is a very good choice.
French silk's terrific.
I mean, it's just chocolate mousse, right?
It's got like, chocolate filling, if you will, and then some whipped cream. And
usually some sort of like graham crackery crust or
and then have like, what would you call it? Like chocolate flakes is not the right word, but what do you...
Shavings.
Shavings, thank you.
Chocolate shavings.
I
think Doug's right, chocolate shavings.
Yeah, that's great.
Apple pie's up on my list.
Apple pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, man.
That's tough to beat.
That is tough to beat with the little cinnamon crumbles on top.
I'll do peach pie, but only during the right season for it. I don't want to use frozen peaches. Doesn't feel like it's doing anybody any good.
Agreed. Cherry pie is great as well. I love a homemade cherry pie.
I can't think of the last time I had cherry pie.
So French silk, like ranking wise, French silk, pumpkin pie with whipped cream. But again, that's only a Thanksgiving time of the year thing.
What about key lime pie?
No, not a big key lime pie.
What about banana cream pie?
No.
That one, key lime's a good pie. You don't like key lime pie?
No.
Have you had it?
Nope.
Okay. This is always my issue with your lack of food.
You can't. See, we have to ask follow-up questions because now it makes me wonder how many times are you saying I don't like something to something you've never tried without us finding that out?
That's one where I don't know about you. I haven't had 10 different types of
I know, but like you can't tell me you don't like it. Like
you're 30. You've had plenty of time. You're 31.
Yeah, but I don't like. If you ask me for what dessert do I want, I'm going to ask things that I like.
If I make a key lime pie, will you
I'll
eat
try
it?
Fine. Just leave the green onions out, please.
I think you'll like key lime pie.
If you don't know that reference, it's because Cody brought in a giant peanut butter cup one day
taste delicious,
that had green onions somehow from his kitchen in it.
Yeah. I made the mistake of cooking dinner before I cooked that
My
dessert.
question maybe needs to be cooked at Nick's house because
No.
You made something in your kitchen, green onion in the dessert, the Cipino incident. So
no, but that was not related to the food.
Maybe Nick needs to bake it.
No. Well, I mean, you can if you want, but it'd save me a little
I'm not a baker.
I'll try some key lime pie.
Baking is an exact science. You mess one thing up and the whole dish goes to trash. I can't do that.
Since it's got some green, we'll make it fit.
Does it have some green?
Club 610 on Friday. St. Patrick's Day theme.
Oh, okay.
Key lime pie.
What other green stuff are you
green
bringing
beer.
Green beer. Oh, it's St. Patrick's
Day for Club 610.
Yeah,
Shouldn't we do a St. Patrick's Day theme?
Key lime pie.
We need to invite notable Irishmen from the Kansas City metro area.
Is Rob Collins Irish? Because I think we were already talking about inviting him. So
Rob Collins is Texan.
What makes you think Rob Collins is Irish?
I said, well, I didn't think I've just said he's Irish. I don't know anybody who's Irish.
Okay.
Like from Ireland.
Rob Collins is a Texas thoroughbred, okay? He's just from Texas. That's it.
What's his genealogy, though?
That's
Where's his family
When
from?
you're from Texas, Cody, that's it. You're just from Texas, man.
There's no background for that. He might still want to participate with us.
I'll shoot Rob a text. He's been busy lately. Been a busy man. It's a busy time of the year.
Okay, so I need to make a key lime pie on Thursday, it sounds like.
What about chili, like a Frito pie? You guys ever had those?
No, I told you. This conversation was meant for, like, dessert pie.
Why all the stipulations?
You asked one
singular
question.
stipulation.
What's your favorite pie? And Nick said pizza pie. You didn't like it.
I still don't think anybody calls it
what he
that.
said was, that's racist.
If you missed, that was in the 10 o'clock hour today. For some reason, you thought saying pizza pie is racist.
And then Nick said, a pizza pie. And then he said, it's a Mia Mario. And then
he did not say
that. He did not say that. Mamma mia. I never said that.
He did not say that and did not say it like that either. He did not. Someone else that may or may not work here says if he's invited to Club 610, he'll bring some green stuff as well.
What kind of green stuff?
What was that, Nick? What was that, Nick?
We haven't had that in Club 610. Is that something we're interested in Club 610?
Well, our state
so far it's drinks.
Technically, we're not technically. I mean, we are. Our station is in Kansas.
That's true.
So that's the only problem for the work. Yeah, that's the only problem there.
When are we going to get past having to like tiptoe around saying like, oh, some others?
I think we can just say weed.
I think everybody knew what we were saying anyway by saying.
I know, but we don't do that with like booze.
We did it with green because Cody was going with the green theme for that kind of.
I think we were being coy to be
on purpose
for comedic value.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Coming up next,
we'll
get to the 1 o'clock hour. What the Chargers, of course, are proposing, and the very latest on what Aaron Rodgers is doing to the Jets.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download to the Character Concerns podcast right now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. 610 Sports Radio.
If you've been listening to the show recently, you guys know we were talking about just the rain in the area. We've all experienced that here in Kansas City, and Cody and I were talking about wearing glasses in the rain, both from a driving standpoint and just wearing them in general. As someone that used to wear glasses until I called my friends at Dury Vision, it was annoying. You get sprinkles on your glasses, right? You have to quickly wipe off your glasses. If it was a downpour, it was even worse. And when you're driving and you see it's raining and you couple the lights, the reflection, your glasses, rain, it's just a bad combination, one that maybe even makes you feel a little unsafe and uncomfortable. I don't have to worry about that anymore because I called my friends at Dury Vision. I went in for my free consultation, and just a couple days later, I had my LASIK procedure. And now, not only do I see better than I ever have before, but I sure as heck am not worried about driving in the rain and glasses being a deterrent anymore. I chose Dury because simply they're the best in Kansas City. Give Dr. Lindquist and the staff a call, 913-491-3330, or go online to DuryVision.com and tell them Gold from 610 sent you.
I'm Brad. I've been with Overhead Door Company of Kansas City for almost 20 years. What we see a lot of in the wintertime is customers sliding into their doors because of icy conditions in their driveway. So hit doors, broken springs, doors stuck to the ground due to ice, bottom rubber ripped off, things like that.
Cold weather wins every time, but we'll get you prepared. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City since 1927. OverheadDoorKC.com.
Do you feel uneasy, irritable,
Does your home internet bill give you anxiety or cause you to make angry noises? You may be suffering from a serious condition known as UPH, unexpected price hikes.
It could happen to anyone, even you. You could get stuck paying more than you expected.
But now there's a solution to put an end to your suffering. T-Mobile 5G home internet is just $50 a month, and it comes with T-Mobile's price lock guarantee. That means they won't raise your home internet rate ever.
Side effects include feelings of joy when you receive your bill, no annual contracts, and no monthly fees.
Try T-Mobile home internet for just $50 a month with autopay. Plus, get price lock guarantee and put an end to the fear of unexpected price hikes today.
They won't raise my internet rates? Thanks, T-Mobile.
Check availability at T-Mobile.com/5G internet.
Price lock exclusions like Texas fees, select promos, and third-party services apply. Qualifying credit and service required. Regulatory fees included in $50 price for qualified accounts, plus $5 per month without autopay.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook app. And get this, you get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. If you bet $20 on the bracket, you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting on everything from the money line, point spreads, all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use, and you get paid your winnings quick. There's no better place to bet the tournament than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. March is one of my favorite months, and I know it's one of yours, so why not put a little bit of money in your hands by betting on the bracket? Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/CDOT. Make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long, all March long. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook partner of 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas on agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Can you help with your best bet? Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KansasGamblingHelp.com.
This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you could spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 seed matchup you've been eyeing. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/win and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable sportsbook bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com Kansas. 1-877-770 stop Louisiana. Visit MDGamblingHelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net West Virginia.
Hey guys, I'm talking to you right here. It's time to have a heart-to-heart chat. You know, now's the perfect time to take the family planning into your hands and make things easier on your wife or partner. Book your vasectomy now at KCUC. I had mine last year, and I'm in the clear now. The whole process of getting a vasectomy takes less than a week. I went into KCUC. The procedure itself is about 30 minutes long, and then I'm back on the couch at home for a few days resting up. Long after, I was back into my normal routine. So why is it the perfect timing to get a vasectomy now? Well, there's a certain March basketball tournament coming up. You know the one. Can you think of a better time to take in non-stop basketball while chilling on the couch? You're straight up watching layups while laid up. Plus, in March, KCUC doctors are opening up their schedules for more slots for vasectomies. With 15 locations in the KC Metro and 11 more around Kansas and Missouri, there's a KCUC close to you. Now's the time to book your vasectomy for March. Call 913-348-8264 or go to kcuc.com.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect, support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Is your old bulk tank water heater dying? That's a good thing, because now you have the perfect excuse to get that Navien tankless water heater. Hot water as much as you need, only when you need it. Your old tank hot water heater kept pouring your money into itself. A Navien only heats water when you need it heated. Rest of the time, you're just saving the bucks. Put new life into your hot water. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com today and check out Navien's strong warranty too. Water, heat it only when you need it with Navien.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Don't miss Vern's Hot Stove every Thursday night live from spring training starting at 6 o'clock on your home for Royals baseball, 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty in Odyssey Station.
All right, 1 o'clock hour here on a Tuesday. Cody and Gold. Keeping an eye on NFL free agency. And, man, Aaron Rodgers just continues. More news comes out. I don't know if it's getting leaked by the Jets or the Packers intentionally or Rodgers himself. But I feel like every 15 minutes there's a new, like, almost demand, but clearly the Jets doing whatever they have to do, selling their soul for Rodgers. And honestly, at this point, they really don't have any other option anyway. So I guess it makes sense. But the latest is that Aaron Rodgers, according to Diana Rossini, has provided the Jets with a wish list of free agents he would like them to target and acquire. Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Mercedes Lewis, all former Packers, and, Odell Beckham Jr. too, please. Thank you.
Would he also like them to trade for DeAndre Hopkins or...
It's pretty wild. I mean, like, he is going to get whatever he wants if they want him to play for the Jets, basically. What he's saying.
This the thing I don't understand about Rodgers, and somebody pointed this out in I think it was Kevin Clark who pointed it out in a story about Matt LaFleur last year. He said Aaron Rodgers spoke to Matt LaFleur at a wedding last year, and he was talking about retirement, and that Matt LaFleur didn't take it all that serious because Aaron Rodgers really likes to troll people. That's how he put it. That's how Kevin Clark put it in the article describing Matt LaFleur's reaction to Aaron Rodgers doing this, and that's what it is. Seems like Aaron Rodgers really likes messing with people more than he likes actually making football decisions. Or maybe he's already made the decision with the Jets. He's already decided he'll go there.
That's what I think.
But he's just like dragging his damn feet for the drama of it. Because for as much as the guy's like, don't look at me, he loves the attention. That's very obvious.
I think he does. But also, to me, the individual signings, these guys, this is a sign that they're very close, I think, to actually finalizing a trade, but I just want to know who's leaking it. Like, is it the Jets leaking it to say, like, here's all the things that we're being asked to do, or is it Aaron Rodgers leaking it on purpose to, who's actually leaking out this information?
It's much easier in the Lamar Jackson situation earlier, who he just tweeted out himself. Right. I got offered 3 for 133, fully guaranteed. So, I mean, in this case, I don't know. It seems like Rodgers has a very tight-knit group of people he is willing to put this information out to. So my guess is that a lot of this is coming from the Jets end. Like Diana Rossini, who's always had good Jets info. I feel like it's all coming from the Jets end to try to force him into a decision. Hey, he asked us for these players. Look, we're clearly trying. Hey, he asked. I think it's all coming from that end, trying to force Aaron Rodgers into actually making a decision, or the Packers to accepting a trade. But it feels like it's all coming from New York.
Yeah, I just think at this point, Rodgers kind of has them by the you-know-what at this point. Like, there's no going back. And if you're the Packers, to me, you can use this in a weird way to your advantage. Like, yes, he could always retire. Yes, he could all of a sudden decide, you know what, I do want to play with you guys, and all of a sudden you're stuck with a $60 million cap hit this year. But it feels like you've got leverage that the Jets are this close. Their fan base, by the way, is expecting the Jets to pull this off. So throw in another pick. Like, I just feel like you can use that as some leverage to try to get an additional draft pick, because if you're a Jets fan and if you're in the Jets media market,
and they're like, hey, we want one more fourth. You're like, yeah, fine. I don't care. Sure.
Your fan base, if you don't pull this off for Rodgers, you're going to be absolutely destroyed because you let Derek Carr sign with the Saints. Jimmy G sign with the Raiders. Your only other option if Rodgers decided to retire is go after Lamar Jackson suddenly, or as you were pointing out, trade up from 13 and go draft a rookie quarterback.
I've said that from the beginning. I would be way more on board in giving up the 2 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson, because the remaining upside is far greater. Like, let's say it works. You trade for him, you pay him a bunch of money, and it works. You can give him another contract. He'd be your quarterback for 10 years if he can stay healthy. How long are you getting Aaron Rodgers for? 2? Because, by the way, next year he's going to threaten to retire again. And you are going to have to wait until after the draft or after June before he makes a decision. Prepared, if you are willing to be held hostage by Aaron Rodgers once, prepared to be held hostage by him more than once. Like, the Packers have now done this for 3 consecutive years where he's threatened this stuff or asked him to sign people or said he wants to be a part of the conversation. The problem with the Jets is if they sign Aaron Rodgers, where do you slot them in the AFC anyway? Like, Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Chargers, Ravens, Dolphins, where do you put them? Jags? Where amongst those top 6, 7, 8 teams do the Jets land if Aaron Rodgers shows up?
Yeah, man. Well, I'll tell you this. I think it has more of an impact for Buffalo to where, the Bills for a while have been trying to make sure Kansas City has to go to Buffalo during the postseason. Like, that's been one of their goals. Like, make Mahomes go on the road, make him come to their place instead of them coming to Arrowhead. This year, the neutral site stuff would have played out if the Bills would have taken care of business anyway. But to me, that's out the window. I don't think the Bills are going to be able to rack up enough wins in that division now with Dolphins and the Jets. Assuming Rodgers actually goes to the Jets. We're assuming that's the case. I don't think they'll be able to rack up enough wins. We kind of talked about that with the AFC West.
I was going to say, you don't feel differently because you said that about the AFC West last year.
But I think Aaron Rodgers has won 4 MVPs, okay? So it's a little bit different. He's won 4 MVPs, and if Tua is healthy, the Dolphins, I saw what a healthy Tua with that roster looked like last year, and their roster is better than it was a year ago. And I saw the Dolphins win 9 games without their starting quarterback playing in 7 of them. So that's why I'm banking that. And then the Jets were a pretty damn good team last year with crap at quarterback.
Yeah, they had no quarterback. They had one of the league's best defenses.
So that's why, I'm not saying Buffalo can't win that division, but I don't think they're getting to the 13-win mark or 14-win mark, which 14 wins is what it took, by the way, to get the number 1 seed this year for Kansas City. So I don't know if Buffalo can win that division, can get the number 1 seed to guarantee that Kansas City has to go to Buffalo instead of playing at Arrowhead. I think that's a big blow to them. As far as the Dolphins, or as far as the Jets individually, if Aaron Rodgers is actually playing for them, and I think he can still give them one really high-quality year as one of the top-tier quarterbacks in this league, then the Jets fit in somewhere in that 3 to 5 range.
Yeah, they're below Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. I'm not really willing. I don't think anybody has made anywhere close to a move or attempted to make a move that would vault them into that conversation. But that probably requires Rodgers. But sometimes it's like the big wide receiver move, or sometimes it's the big free agent signing. But because there aren't big wide receivers, all the big free agent signings are just like guards or backup tight ends so far. So it doesn't feel like anyone's made any real progress. I might still rank them below Miami. It's definitely a better quarterback situation. But Miami's roster, top to bottom, still remains one of the best in the AFC.
I think they're both in the 3 to 5 range, and the Dolphins, to me, have a chance. And we talked about this yesterday. I think the Dolphins have a chance if Tua somehow stays healthy.
It's how much better the Jags are getting, too,
I think
really.
The Dolphins have a chance to be that number 2, number 3 contender next season. We'll see how things go the rest of the offseason. For Buffalo, who cleared up a bunch of cap space yesterday, but they haven't really made a move yet. They lost Tremaine Edmonds, though. It's a big loss, as the Bears were willing to just go all in on linebackers, oddly enough. Which
they spent like
kind
a
of
weird amount of money on
inside linebackers, too.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
I'll be honest. Don't love that for the Bears. Spending a fortune on inside linebackers, a position that I have largely deemed unimportant. Not that it matters. I get it. Everyone can view the positions a little bit different. But if you're going to go after NFL free agency, it doesn't feel like overspending on inside linebacker is the move. A position that largely can be found at several different rounds of the NFL draft. But, it doesn't feel like anyone's closing the gap on Kansas City is really what this whole Aaron Rodgers thing comes down to. That will close the gap. The Jets will be closer to the Chiefs, and they have been in a very, 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 very long time. But they're going to be facing that same battle you just talked about with the Bills. They're going to have to do war in their own division just to get out of it.
Coming up about 6 minutes, we'll get to something here in coaching. Earlier, you thought we were discussing with Dennis Gates and his contract extension and how schools maybe give extensions too early. What about college basketball coaches hiring coaches and then suspending them literally before they ever coached a game? We'll explain that in just a second. It just happened in college basketball. But let's talk a little Royals baseball.
I assume?
Yeah, let's talk a little. Thank you. A little college basketball in a little bit, but Royals baseball, because the Bally Sports Network and Sinclair, the parent company, they're going to claim bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And then Major League Baseball is going to take over. And there's a chance that the games could actually end up being free this year. That's been discussed.
Well, and honestly, why wouldn't Major League Baseball do it that way? I will stand by the argument we made a couple weeks ago, which baseball should just collectively bargain all of their rights and sell them as a group and make them more accessible for fans and sell the advertising that way. It works in every other sport. It can work with yours. The problem is baseball got set up so long ago that everything is more player-friendly than any other league by a mile, more team-friendly at the top, less fair and equitable for teams in the middle and in the bottom, so they don't want to do that. But when this goes bankrupt, they should make them all free for a year And the great news is that Kansas City gets rolled up into this. They're not one of the teams being mentioned yet, but the Royals would likely lose the same $20 million annually that these other teams are being mentioned.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. But the one, look, this is one of those, like, looking at the bright side of life. It sucks to lose that money for the Royals. It's going to hurt your long-term viability a little bit from a spending perspective. But you can make up $20 million if you choose to, and if you're a good enough team, you would do that under normal circumstances anyway. This is maybe the best time ever for it to happen for the Royals from this perspective. They need people interested in their sport. If it is free, accessible, and the Royals are interesting because they're young and different and you don't know all these players and they have a chance to be better than they have in a long time because there's a ton of upside, it's a very good time for the Royals, in my opinion, to have their product be free for fans.
I think it's great if that's the case for fans, but what you're describing, to me, that only lasts for so long. Like the idea of like, yes, the product has to be accessible. That's been a big problem. Of course, you can listen on 610, but on the television side, accessibility has been a big complaint for watching Royals games. No doubt. But what you're saying about like young and exciting and people want to see this young talent.
If it's free.
That only lasts the accessibility part and how it's fun and they're young and exciting. That requires them winning games for people to still buy into that, Cody, in July. And so, yes, free in April and May sounds great to me. I would love for it to be fun and exciting in July and in August as well. I'm not so sure that'll actually be the case. That's the only thing that I'll push back on is like, you're right. Like that, they need accessibility for their TV product. But fans, if they're 25 games under 500, we can't keep saying every year, because last year was the case. It was a brand new team in the second half of the season. It was a bunch of young talent.
Yeah, and they were way more interesting to watch than they were in the first half, believe it or not.
Will people still be saying that if it's July and that, yes, they're young players, but the team is still not performing at a good level? I don't know if we'll be. I don't think you can keep saying for like a whole nother calendar year, like, well, at least they're young. No, they have to start winning some games, and you have to start seeing, Bobby Wood Jr. and the talk of being a superstar. You have to start seeing that on a regular basis. The talk
young
about
starters,
Melendez and Pasquantino and Brady Singer backing up what he did last year, like, have to see that for people to still be interested in July. Even if it doesn't equate to directly, hey, this team being anywhere near 500. But are those key core pieces that we think could be the core of the future, are they actually performing? As far as being free, yeah, that's great, because there's a lot of people. You're a diehard baseball fan. I'm somewhere in the middle. Nick, I think, is on the opposite end of that, where it's, are you going to really pay money? That's been a problem, right? Been willing to pay the $14.99 or watch the separate Bally Sports product because they've not thrown into your YouTube TV.
Why is that number such a big? Because, like, look, we've all switched to essentially they've gotten us with cable by packaging up a bunch of different streaming services.
Well, the cord cutting is basically the same thing now, man.
It's working itself in that direction. I still don't pay as much at whatever my last cable bill was, so it hasn't caught up fully yet. So I'm not there. But, look.
By the time you add in everything.
Yeah, look, you cancel some, you add some, you lose. Like, I've long considered losing Netflix.
Yeah,
it's on the shopping block.
It's easy to add something for a month and cancel the next month.
Sure. Like, I wanted to watch Party Down, so I added Stars for $6. And then
that's one I have not paid for yet.
It'll be gone in a month. As soon as that show ends, it's the only show I'm interested in watching on that service, it'll be gone. Which is the same thing you can do with this. Baseball needs to, if they take it over, and they're not going to make it free, let's say they don't, then they should just make it $15 a month, and you can watch the Royals and every other team in baseball, because that's what it is now. It is $15 a month to watch every team in baseball that's not the Royals.
Yeah, it's blacked
Just let me also watch the Royals.
That's a big, big problem, though.
By the way, $15 a month is
not.
Yeah, but $15 a month isn't crazy. You know the Red Sox in their home market, do you know what they charge? And they're the Red Sox, so admittedly we expect
their network
more.
Has their own app, plain and simple.
$30.
NESN or whatever it's called, NESN or whatever.
$30. That's what it costs a month.
Now, can I play a devil's advocate a little bit on that?
They're good.
Well, that and it also, to my knowledge, has the Celtics built into that, does it not? Doesn't it have other? I think it might be others. I think it has other sports, so it's not just. I don't think it's just the Red Sox, but yeah, number one, as you said, better team, competitive team, and. I'm sorry, it is Boston. It's East Coast. It's going to cost more.
Sure, but I mean,
going to a Boston Red Sox game costs more than going to a Royals game.
But MLS, a largely less popular sport by all metrics, they're $8 a month. If you have Apple TV, like if you're already subscribed to something, if you're not, it's $13 a month. 15. I know it sounds crazy. It's not a ridiculous price to watch an MLB team. And whatever you were paying in like the cable deals before. Like, look, if you've got YouTube TV, of course you just want it on there. Of course you just want Bally Sports Network to have a deal on there, so I don't have to pay an additional fee. I'd rather it be somewhat lumped together, but a little bit of freedom. It's like we want the cable cutting without the cable cutting.
Sure.
The middle ground to me of $15 per month is great because it provides you the same option. I sound like such a corporate guy.
Yeah, what is it?
Like it provides you the same option because you can just get out. You think they stink in May? Quit. No one's making you pay the $15 a month. You don't think Netflix has anything fun to watch on
in
it?
July, that's what I'm telling you, though. Like in July, I don't think people. You're right. In April and May, that $15 a month for a Royals baseball game. Yeah, I'm sure plenty of people are all in. In July, though, if they're not competitive and they're 20 games out, then yeah, I don't think people are paying the $15 a month.
Fantastic. You know what that sounds like to me? Encouragement to win.
Yeah, but you're
not just getting a paycheck for showing up.
You also just told me that losing $20 million is not a big deal for a baseball team.
I don't. Well, we've had a large discussion about how much I think $20 million actually matters to a
We can't, though, for a decade, bitch and moan about how bad the TV deal was and say how they're at a disadvantage, and then now suddenly act like losing $20 million on the TV product isn't a problem for the organization.
I'm certainly not saying it's not nothing. I imagine
someone says they will watch
it will impact their bottom line.
Crappy baseball for free. They won't pay for crappy baseball. That's the thing. Overall, the whole thing to solve this problem is if the Royals are actually competitive, people don't care if it's $20 a month or $5 a month or $30 a month. Like in the grand scheme of things, like there's also just so many more.
Just make it accessible.
Options.
Whether it's like you've said, like whether it's an app or on you, just make it somewhere. That was the biggest problem last year. It wasn't anywhere. It didn't exist for a whole year. You had to I had MLB TV and a VPN, so it said I was in Miami. That's probably a good time for that.
That's the mock draft sounder, guys.
Bink has his mock draft out?
That's the siren that goes off whenever.
Bink's mock is out.
We want Bink's mock. We want Bink's mock.
Okay, well, first off, you guys get together and decide what the chant's going to be.
We want Bink's mock? Bink's mock?
That doesn't flow.
That's too long.
Bink's mock. Bink's mock.
Yeah.
That sounds like you're saying Bink's smock.
No, it sounds like Bink's something else, potentially. That's dangerous.
Yeah, be careful.
Very dangerous. Okay. Very dangerous.
All right, so this is not Jay Binkley's. Again, Jay Binkley's mock is what we like to call a work in progress. Has not been released yet. But on that note, something that has been released, the latest episode of Character Concerns with myself, Jay Binkley, and Chris Unacero.
And Bink's mock's on that.
Bink's mock is not on that.
But does he mention players that might be on his mock?
Yes, he does. He does give some hints as to who he's leaning towards in the first round for the Chiefs. Again, Character Concerns podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Oh, yeah,
the most popular Kansas City-based draft podcast I've been told.
That's true. Well, the best one, for sure. We know that much. It's the best. This mock draft comes to us courtesy of 24/7 Sports. Brad Crawford, guys. Brad Crawford, okay?
Man, Brad does great work over there.
He does great work. And at pick number 31, he has the Chiefs selecting wide receiver out of Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt, speedster.
We've had him a couple times.
Are you sure this isn't Bink's mock?
We've talked about Jalen Hyatt a couple times. I think there's definitely, if you're defining a wide receiver in the first round this year that's like the true boomer bust type of candidate, high risk, low reward, however you want to describe it, that's kind of where he's at.
Let me ask you guys this, if that is, and I agree with that assessment, do you think the Chiefs should be going after high upside, maybe a little in a position to go after riskier candidates with higher ceilings at that position?
I don't know. They keep doing that wide receiver they haven't hit yet, so I guess I'm a little more leery of it, but I always prefer the high upside guy to this guy's going to be a solid 800-yard receiver if you're talking about a first-round pick.
It also depends. As of right now, JuJu Smith-Schuster is not on this roster. If he's on the roster, it probably means you don't have to, you can actually do that, right? You can stay at 31 and take a riskier wide receiver. If JuJu's not back and you tell me going into the draft, the wide receiver room looks like Kadarius Toney and MVS and Sky Moore,
but that's the thing.
Then you need to actually trade up and go get a guy.
I think I'd rather take risk if they don't have JuJu.
No,
because they have JuJu. I'm like, when are they getting playing time anyway? JuJu, MVS, Sky Moore, Kelsey.
Well, I think the downside and really the fallacy of going after the safer pick. There is no such thing. You might as well just go after the high upside guy because even if you draft the safe guy, he could suck too. And then you didn't even give yourself a chance at the high ceiling.
I don't disagree, but wouldn't you say, if I was asking you deep down your honest answer of who do you think, maybe one's more going to be a star, but who do you think is just going to have a nice NFL career? And I lined up Hyatt, Njigba, Quentin Johnson, and Jordan Addison. I don't think Hyatt's the first guy you're naming for the. That's my point.
But I think from that point of view,
some use for Hyatt.
From that point of view, yeah, he's kind of in a different tier anyway. Like all of those guys that you named, I think they're just better prospects. So
fair.
And they're not going to be there at 31.
That's what I'm saying. If I knew JuJu wasn't around, I would feel more the need to go trade up to the top 15, top 20, and go get one of those first 3 names.
Based off his skill set, Jalen Hyatt, he seems like even though he's not built exactly the same, he would be potentially an MVS replacement a year from now. He's got burner, track speed. He's 6 foot, 176 pounds. Like MVS is massive. He's like 6'4". So he doesn't have the same size, but in terms of just being a deep downfield threat, that's what I think your hope would be for Jalen Hyatt.
There aren't many questions left with Brett Veach, and no general manager is ever going to be perfect. But wide receiver remains the spot he has not done great at in the draft, right? That remains the one where he hasn't drafted one guy where you're like, yes, I like that player a lot. Like, it might have been defensive end until Karlaftis, but now I'm like, I really do like Karlaftis, so this makes sense. But, like, McCole fell short, Sky Moore, it's so early. Has fallen short of what they could be. They've never turned into stars. Fine, but that's the thing. Hyatt will have a role. Andy will find, like, if he's just a superior athlete, Andy will find some excuse to use you that works.
Yeah, he won't not be used. But
like,
this
if
goes
Addison's
back,
too slow, I don't know if he's just
like,
going to get time.
This goes back to like that, like high risk, high reward thing. You're right. He might have a role, but I also don't. I picked 31. I don't want them drafting someone that's going to be basically what Sky Moore was this past year or what McCole Hardman ended up being. Not at 31.
Yeah, I mean at 54, I don't love it either. For being honest, I'm not
round pick.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, obviously you don't love it anyway. But like, there's certainly a difference between drafting a guy in the first round and a guy in the second round.
You would like more, but that's the thing. It's so hard because this is where I can't figure out if I think there's any chance they take a wide. If they bring back JuJu, I'm like, is there really any chance they bring back JuJu? They're taking a first-round wide receiver. They would be 6th in order of who they were targeted if Sky Moore takes no leap. According to them, Tony might be number one.
Yeah, but remember, they can get out of the
they can get out of the running back, then Kelsey, then
they can get out of the MVS deal though after this next season if they want easily. They can get out of it right now if they wanted to.
So it's working a year ahead, but the Chiefs are still in a window where I want to think a year ahead, but as I told you before, I also want to be thinking about what it's going to take to win a Super Bowl this year. And I don't know that spending a first-round pick on next year's wide receiver is – I don't know if I would be doing that versus next year's defensive end who can also clearly get playing time right now. Or next year's corner who can get playing time right now. You know, like some of those guys who would be more likely to be on the field immediately.
So you're out on first-round wide receiver altogether then?
I don't think they'll do it. I'm fine with first.
Yeah, what do you want them to do?
Yeah, I wouldn't care if they took a first-round wide receiver. I've been pro that pretty much this entire time. But
make a stand.
But I'm still more interested in what you've said overall. I want, when they finally take a first-round wide receiver, for them to go up to like 15 and get a dude. Make their change, like sell the farm for A.J. Green, like Cincinnati did when they were in the late 20s, and went up and got their guy. I'd much rather do that than just sitting back at 31 and be like, I hope Jalen Wyatt works out. Oh, by the way, the Raiders have one less prospect, or one less player. The Giants are finalizing a trade to acquire Darren Waller from the Raiders, according to Tom Pelissero.
Darren Waller was rumored to get traded to the Packers last year, part of the Devontae Adams deal, remember? And that part of the deal fell through. Devontae Adams ended up going from Green Bay to Las Vegas, but the Packers wanted Waller. The Raiders said no. Darren Waller going to be with the New York. That's a nice weapon for the Giants. Really nice weapon. Darren Waller just got married like last week.
What if Darren Waller was actually on Aaron Rodgers' wish list, but he accidentally sent it to the wrong New York team? Yeah.
Oops. He just emailed New York Giants.
The G and the J, one letter in between.
NYGiants at AOL.com.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, if you look at the keyboard, the J and the G, there's only an H in between, so it's easy. Accidentally fat-fingered it. Type the G instead of the NYJ. Easy mistake. I
mean, if you're going to pay
with all the hallucinogens and psychedelics he's on, it would be easy to see how he would make a mistake like that.
I mean, I love the Waller trade for the Giants. They need to add some more playmaker. That's a big-time trade. I really like that.
Well, if you're going to pay Daniel Jones, you might as well surround him with as much talent as you can possibly acquire.
Because there's so little talent in his own body?
Yes, that's correct.
Also, it's
so much money.
It's also just another weapon out of the AFC West. So, yeah, that's great. Like, Darren Waller is one of the guys that could be a problem when he was healthy if you were the Chiefs, right? And now it's one less weapon. Yes, they added Jacoby Myers, but Darren Waller's more of a problem when he's on the field than Jacoby Myers, clearly. So, really nice trade for the Giants. Going back to the Royals, don't forget, though, our Royals coverage leading up to opening day is brought to you by the KCK PD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers, kckpd.org, for more information, an equal opportunity employer. We'll continue to react to that trade that just went down in the NFL, plus we'll get you what's trending right here on Cody and Gold.
You're listening to Cody and Gold, brought to you by Gant Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gant Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Subscribe and download all new episodes of Nick's Waving in the Wheat podcast, released every Thursday on the 435 Podcast Network and the Odyssey app.
BetMGM's March Matchups is the perfect time for Hoops fans to take their shot at scoring big. Log in or sign up today and place a $50 wager on any team, doesn't matter, to win the college tournament. And if your team just makes the semifinals, you'll receive a $25 bonus bet to use on any sport. Just use bonus code CTAP, that's CTAPP, when you make your bet. So use that promo code CTAP, that's CTAPP. Hit the court and find out why nothing beats BetMGM's March Matchups. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly and offer resources to help you make appropriate choices. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager, Kansas only. New and existing customers offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Growing up, nothing was more fun than playing outside, climbing trees and getting dirty. Hi, this is Larry Ryan with Ryan Lawn and Tree. Well, we grew up, but now we love working outside, creating beautiful lawns, caring for trees and shrubs, fixing irrigation systems, and providing our customers with industry-best pest services. Our Ryan pros are passionate about creating spaces your family, friends, and even pets can enjoy. Our Ryan pros in those clean red trucks are highly trained, full-time employee owners. And as an owner, they're personally committed to providing you with unmatched results and award-winning 5-star customer service. And we're local, so no 1-800 number here. Visit RyanLawn.com today for a free estimate. Hey, and if you want an outdoor career with us as an employee owner, visit RyanLawn.com. I personally guarantee you'll be glad you did.
Hey, it's Kling. I'm obsessed with racking up fuel savers at Hy-Vee, so I got a great idea for you. Shop Hy-Vee on Monday, swipe your fuel saver card, and earn a fuel saver discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you spend. Watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for the official high temperature. Say it's 56 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 56 cents per gallon when I spend $56 on Monday. It's the heat up savings every Monday through March 27th, only at Hy-Vee.
Must use lookup code 80007. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from Storm Track 5 Weather.
I'm morning meteorologist Greg Bennett. Watch KCTV5 News Sunday night at 10 for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you save on Monday with your Hy-Vee Fuel Saver Card. If the high was 63 degrees, you save 63 cents a gallon when you spend at least $63.
Make sure to watch Storm Track 5 Weather on KCTV5.
If you're looking for the best in barbecue in Kansas City, then go to my favorite restaurant, Smokehouse Barbecue. There are so many things I love about Smokehouse Barbecue. Their hickory pit beans are phenomenal. Their world-famous Cajun buttered chicken wings are outstanding. And, of course, their baby back ribs just fall right off the bone. But what I love most about Smokehouse Barbecue is that they've been family-owned and operated for over 35 years. And they have 3 convenient locations in Zona Rosa, Gladstone, and Independence. Check them out at smokehousebbq.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, real-time product availability, and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination.
We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any Duralast rotors with the set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim data from the Anyone. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
To Cricket, stay with Cricket. Just like customer Christine. I'm a director and a performer. I got a free phone from Cricket, and I've used it to live stream 73 of my shows on social media. How do you like it? It's fabulous! Switch to Cricket and get a free Samsung A14 5G. File, you're on Cricket.
Real customer for testimonial, limited time. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month. First month service charge and tax to its sale. Phone streams, video, and SD. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Fees, terms, and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
This feels good! Why does he feel good? Because he has all the hot water he needs. Now you can catch the feels with a Navien Tank hot water heater. Imagine all the hot water you want for as long as you need. No wasting money and energy. No more cutting that shower short. Just hot water all the time, every time. So feel good. So good. With a Navien tankless hot water heater. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com to learn more.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with the set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This report is brought to you by Charles River Labs. Discover the difference. This is your moment. Charles River Labs is a visionary leader in the development and delivery of advanced drug therapies. Be part of a team that is focused on improving global health, being a culture of teamwork, diversity, and sustainability. This is your moment. Opening soon in Overland Park. Learn more at jobs.criver.com.
Coverage of Opening Day is brought to you by the KCKPD, accepting applications for new and experienced law enforcement officers. KCKPD.org for more information. Equal employer. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot top trending.
Number one on what's trending news in the last couple of minutes that the Las Vegas Raiders have traded tight end Darren Waller to the New York Giants for pick 100. That would be the old Chiefs comp pick that they got when Ryan Poles got hired to be the GM in Chicago. It would also be the comp pick they sent to the Giants in exchange for Kadarius Toney. So essentially the Giants traded Kadarius Toney for Darren Waller, if you really want to break it down.
It's a pretty good deal for them.
Really good deal for the
They gotta
Giants.
pay Darren Waller a lot more money.
They do, but they get their number one tight end now, a legit number one tight end to help out Daniel Jones in that offense that struggled without, did well without playmakers, I should say, but struggling to find playmakers. If you're the Raiders, it's a deep tight end class. Maybe you're thinking that you can go and find one, but they add Jacoby Myers, and now Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have a tight end to throw to. I'm guessing the Raiders, with one of their first 4 picks, drafting one of these tight ends that everybody's been talking about.
This goes down to the same thing that's the problem with Josh McDaniels in the first place. Reportedly, he didn't want to give Darren Waller an extension anyway. He is all about doing things somebody else's way, and it's just that or it's nothing, which is what Bill Belichick does. Unfortunately, he's not Bill Belichick, so he just runs people out of town. You might remember when he was in Denver, he had a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, and Jay Cutler hit him out of town and said, I can win with anybody, and then lost and eventually got fired with Tim Tebow.
Yeah, I will say the Raiders were trying to trade Darren Waller over a year ago during the Aaron Rodgers, the Devontae Adams trade, where the report was that the Raiders were talking about sending Darren Waller to the Packers. That part fell apart, and they just did the Devontae Adams portion of the trade. So the Packers could have had Darren Waller in this whole thing last year.
Seems like pennies on the dollar. They're shedding some salary, but I don't get it. If I'm a Raiders fan, I wouldn't get it. Next up on what's trending, other free agent deals that were big today. Jacoby Myers got a 3-year, $33 million deal with the same Las Vegas Raiders, $21 million guaranteed. And some reports earlier in the day were suggesting Alan Lazard was close to nearing a deal with the Jets, but nothing's come to fruition there. Diana Rossini earlier today said that Aaron Rodgers has provided the Jets with a wish list of free agents that he would like them to acquire that includes Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Mercedes Lewis, and Odell Beckham Jr. So we're still seeing which thing comes next.
The Chiefs did make a minor move. According to Aaron Wilson, the Chiefs re-signing Tershawn Wharton. to a 1-year, $2.025 million deal, $850,000 guaranteed, $500,000 signing bonus, but the base salary just $1 million. That's part of a $975,000 playing time incentive that's also in there. Turk Warden
coming off an injury.
Yeah, week 5 IR last year, 1 sack in 5 games. Good depth piece, especially if you're going to lose guys like Derek Nottie and Colin Saunders.
Next up on What's Trending, FIFA's approved an expansion of 24 more games for the upcoming 2026 World Cup. That from 80 to 104. Remember, there were 65 World Cup games in the last World Cup in Qatar. So they're damn near doubling the entire field, what's expected to be the longest World Cup in the history of the sport. Now, they've gone up to 48 teams. That's why there's all these additional things. So larger pools, larger pool play, and more teams overall, which means great news for Kansas City because the growing number is always, hey, how many games of this World Cup will Kansas City get? Well, there's just a lot more games. So they're getting at least one more, you would think, than they were getting previously because of this expansion. So great news for Kansas City. I know it's a lot more teams in the tournament. 104 games is a lot of World Cup play, but I like the World Cup, so I'll be fine with it.
The fact that it happens to be in the year where it's in North America and in Kansas City, that part's fine. Like down the road, maybe it'll be problematic and it's like, hey, this is way too long. Too many teams are in it. But in this case, it's great because it allows Kansas City most likely to get an additional game out at Arrowhead and in Kansas City. And the money that's involved in that. So that part makes it, I think, a little bit easier to accept. Thinking of the NFL, continuing to see some more rumors come across on the NFL potential signings as well. Nothing on Orlando Brown Jr., though, today. It's quiet on that front, which I thought is interesting, seeing that yesterday there was a lot of offensive line movement, and maybe the Chiefs, because they played it well with Jawaan Taylor, maybe they caught Orlando Brown Jr. and his team off guard about not being willing to negotiate with him. Maybe that's a pivot that now Orlando Brown Jr.'s team has to make. But I'm a little surprised that Orlando Brown Jr. hasn't found a home this afternoon.
I just assumed because most sites had him ranked as one of, if not the number one free agent available in the market because he plays tackle and was expected to be one of the highest signed guys. Maybe the deal will get done, but nope. Nope, sure didn't. He is still waiting around for a contract right now.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. Let's talk a little bit more about the Raiders, though, and just where they're positioned. So Jacoby Myers signed. Don't have an issue with that signing. I think that's a good signing. You have Myers, Adams, and Renfro. Actually, pretty good 1, 2, 3. Not bad. But Jimmy Garoppolo's throwing you the ball, and then now you thought you had Darren Waller to be part of that conversation. He's with the Giants. Again, I think we both believe the Raiders with the deep tight end class will spend one of their top picks on one of these, what are viewed as maybe starter caliber tight ends, and that might be in their mind a way to fill it, and it might end up looking like a decent trade at the end of the day for the Raiders. But anytime you trade away a guy that has been a key part of that offense, when Josh McDaniels is part of the equation, people are going to question it more than they would question other teams, especially since Jimmy Garoppolo, he does make a living checking the ball down. So you got to have it. Again, I think they'll do it in the draft, but you got to have a tight end in an offense that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to operate. Like, you have to have a pass-catching tight end.
It has been a few years since Darren Waller was good, and he's
been
30.
banged up, yeah.
So, I mean, you're getting 4 years of Darren Waller at 30, 31, 32, 33. So, I mean, that part of it kind of makes sense if you're the Raiders. But this all comes down to the same thing that I've talked about with them. Like, we're having the conversation about which coach is going to last longer. He is so my way or the highway as a head coach. He will let go of more talented players in order to make that happen. That's why he's going after Jacoby Myers, who was with him in New England. That's why he's going after Jimmy G, who was with him in New England. He's trying to create the culture of, you listen to me or you can get the hell out. And you just have to have more flexibility than that. The players coach mentality Andy Reid presents, even though he can be a bit stiff on the media appearance part of that, but other than that, I mean, I feel like that's the better approach.
I mean, the criticism's fair to McDaniel. I will say, though, like, the idea that somebody comes in and wants guys that they've worked with, like, that happens.
That happens all the time, man. Eric Bieniemy just signed Andrew Wiley.
Signed Andrew Wiley and Marcus Kemp. DeMeco Ryans, now the head coach with the Texans. He signed former 49er, who was part of his defense out there, Jimmy Ward. So, like, that the idea that you bring in guys that you used to be working with, that's not new. Heck, it happens outside of sports. It happens in every workplace that you're listening. Those of you listening work in. It happens all the time that somebody, your new boss worked with someone at some other place, and he decided to bring him in because it's someone he trusts or whatever. Like, that happens I don't care what field you work in.
It definitely happens in this industry.
It definitely happens in radio as well.
I haven't had very many real jobs, so I don't want to speak for the other industries.
It just, it does happen in other jobs as well.
I guess I assume so.
Oh, okay. Hey, maybe I'm pretty sure
I don't read the Kansas City Business Journal like you do.
Has nothing to do with reading the Kansas City Business Journal. I don't care if you're in a sales job, if you're someone that is like the owner of the company and used to work, and a guy that you did sales with 10 years ago is available. People anyway, I'm pretty confident in my
No,
thought
I wasn't
there.
even arguing that.
What are you arguing?
Nothing. I just said I didn't want to say definitively that I knew that. That's all.
Either way.
Do you know that definitively, Nick? Come on.
Stop saying the word definitively.
But yes, McDaniels, the reason why you're saying about him is because he has a track record of having other issues.
Yeah, and it went pretty poorly the last time. He was like, it's not just the bringing in people you're comfortable with. You're right. Everyone does do that. But the problem is that he holds no flexibility with any player on this, and he has no track record of any kind of success as a head coach. None. So I don't know why anyone would trust his word. It's fine. I like the deal a lot for the Giants. The Raiders just want to shed salary in a division they definitively have no chance of winning.
Stop.
I said it I couldn't even get it out without laughing. That they have no chance of winning, then so what? They can't win this division no matter who they add.
They got a long ways to go. Very long ways to go. I did want to talk about Missouri basketball for a little bit because yesterday we focused in on KU and the seeding controversy, or at least the region they're playing in. Dennis Gates, who did a great job in year one, got an extension late last week, and it locks him in through 28-29, a little bump from $2.5 to $4 million. And I think the most important part is the buyout, right? We know that that's the name of the game when it comes to retaining coaches or getting coaches to come to your program. The buyout's $25 million through at least 23-24. Of course.
So you don't think anyone's going to steal?
As it gets 25, 26, 27, all of a sudden that number shrinks and shrinks. And if he's having success at this level consistently, then it'll be interesting to see who comes calling. But this, to me, guarantees you another year or two at least of Dennis Gates, who immediately is having success. And this is kind of the name of the game in college athletics. Like, you have to protect someone that might be a hot name elsewhere. The same could be said for Jerome Tang at Kansas State until they get an extension with a heavy buyout. This happened at KU for football. It happens, I think, with Chris Kleiman at K-State to make sure he doesn't leave. Like, this is just the name of the game. You keep coaches, and the way to do that, if you're not already one of the three best programs in your conference on a consistent basis or viewed as that nationally, you got to make sure you make it difficult for that guy to go leave.
A lot of this comes down to, I guess the question is, how long do you think a coach has to be in your program to feel like you've now attracted a better candidate than the time last? And look, Dennis Gates working out. But you and I both know that when you were offering the Missouri job, you have to take a riskier or less established candidate that you don't know for sure will work out as much as other guys because your program hasn't been good. It's the same thing as we talked about with like Lance Leipold. You're taking shots. You're taking deep shots because you don't know whether or not these things are going to actually work out.
Right.
How
And
long
Dennis
does Dennis Gates have to keep Missouri relevant for, if he is gone in 2 years, for them to be picking from a better crop of head coaching candidates? Obviously, he's working out, but they want to be picking from a better pool the next time.
Right. I mean, aren't you in, like, that's exactly why you do the extension, though, is what you're saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. But, like, how long is 3 years enough? I'm saying if Dennis Gates, 3 years, they go to the tournament three times, they make one Sweet 16, is that enough? Like, if you're Missouri, is that $4 or $5 million enough? Because that's what an additional pay you would give him, and then you might get some of that recouped in a buyout.
If you go from not being a consistent NCAA tournament team to making a tournament for 3 years in a row, and that head coach decides to leave for a big-time job, big-time job at that point, I think they will have a better chance to hire someone that is already a little more established.
The problem is, how do you get yourself out of being stepping stone? Not blue blood, but just not full stepping stone.
That's probably going to be very difficult to ever get out of because of the conference that they're in, because you're never going to be one of the top 3 teams every year in the SEC. You're just not. Not when Kentucky's there.
So it's either you
not
make
when
a bad
Tennessee's
coaching
there.
hire or they leave after 3 years. This is a terrible system. Like, and I get it.
It's a system, sure. What you need to do, though. I have no problem.
Because they're trying to protect 3 years of success.
I have no problem with Dennis Gates getting an extension. That's what you got to do. If not, you lose him. And you waited for a while to find a young up and coming head coach that looks like he's going to have a lot of success for you. And so you want to make sure you don't blow that opportunity, and an extension was warranted and required.
So Jerome Tang going to get more money? Or is he old enough that
I think
people
Jerome
won't
Tang's
steal?
going to get an extension if he doesn't leave as well after this season. Yeah, I think he deserves it as well. This is how this stuff works in college athletics.
It's just college athletics is the gross. All sports do some pretty egregious things. College athletics is the worst. They're the worst of everyone. Like the way you have to operate, it all feels slimy and so unnecessary. And coaches come asking for a raise after a year because they'll just ditch or threaten to ditch or anything's in there. Or then you got like what happened with Will Wade, who got hired by a new school at McNeese State and is already suspended to start their season.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Will Wade used to be the head coach at LSU, got in a lot of trouble with the NCAA. LSU ultimately fired him. That actual punishment actually has never come down from the NCAA. It's still pending. It still can happen. And so McNeese decided, we'll go ahead and get a guy that obviously can recruit and all that.
And this is a much better level of coach than we would normally get.
Yeah, and so they hired him, and before he even got done fully being introduced, they suspended him for 5 games to start next season in hopes that it'll ease the punishment that the NCAA or this independent panel levies.
How can you legitimately go to your fan base and be like, you guys should love this hire? We have already
it's McNeese.
We have already pre-suspended him.
It's McNeese, so it's like, what do you have to lose?
This is what I've been talking about with UMKC, right?
Kind of. But it's McNeese.
He's already suspended.
He didn't commit those infractions at your school. That's kind of where they're at.
I mean, it'd be a lot worse if it were like personal stuff. Like if he had committed a crime or suspected of committing a crime against another person versus like a crime against the NCAA.
No, I got you.
We don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about stealing money from the NCAA. People do that all the time. That part concerns me way less. Has McNeese State, have they been in a tournament before? Are they just taking like some big, huge long shot? I don't know anything about their college basketball program.
They're not exactly a powerhouse. Like they're not on like the same level as Kansas, Kentucky, and Duke and those programs.
Okay, thanks.
But they're a perennial bottom.
But just
tier.
below that?
No. They are perennially one of the worst.
Southland Conference.
They are one of the worst basketball programs in America.
Okay, one of the worst Division I basketball programs in America.
They were 11 and 23 this year.
No, maybe this is exactly what I was talking about with UMKC. Maybe they should have been thinking outside the box.
Like they
you want UMKC to hire Will Wade?
Not really. I just hate the idea of hiring someone who's already suspended.
I mean this sincerely. They would kill for UMKC's history and tradition.
It's that bad?
I'm pretty sure they're the worst basketball program in America.
Like UMKC has put a couple of pros in the league at least, so they got that going for them, but they've never been in an NCAA tournament. And since they switched to Division I, it has not gone great.
They were, I'm looking at it now, they were last in the NCAA tournament in 2002. It's about 22 seasons ago.
You know what's funny, though? Like, the opponent KU's playing, Howard, hasn't been in since 92. So, I mean, like, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but, like, the fact that it's been 2002, a lot of the small conferences, you have to win your conference tournament to get in. So, the gap between, for a lot of these
But it's always just like,
similar.
how is UMKC not capable of, getting talent like South Dakota State? Like it doesn't, and now some of that is because they've established a good basketball program versus you who hasn't. Like, can Will Wade get talent to McNeese State?
No. No.
You said that so quick.
They're in the Southland.
Yeah. Now, talent, no, but if he's a good coach, which I still think he is, like from an X and O, then they will win more games than they have in the past, yes.
They will do nothing.
If they win the Southland, would he get a better job?
By the way, this is the dumbest conversation because they're never going to be nationally relevant.
No, I want to argue.
They have to.
I want to argue about
win
this.
Their conference. They have to win their conference tournament to get in anyway. So it's a silly conversation.
But if they won that, would he get a better job?
No.
Is this a Chris Beard situation? Would someone hire him above this?
It's over. It's the only place he could get hired.
Nick.
The only place in America that would touch this guy.
We're just going to not let people talk at all now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, not that he had anywhere near the success that Rick Pitino ever had, but everybody thought Rick Pitino was done. He got hired by Iona, and now Rick Pitino's about to become the head coach.
Iona's a good program.
Going to become the head coach at St. John's, probably. Texas Tech is rumored to be interested in Rick Pitino. Iona's
got a good program.
I like Texas Tech's like, well, one guy left in shame. Why don't we try another guy who's done that before? He knows how this works.
Iona's been to a lot of tournaments. Hey, by the way, watch out for the Gales to make some noise.
They're going to get crushed in their first game. They're 9.5-point dogs. No.
Crushed?
I'll bet you straight up.
Who they play, UConn?
Yeah, I'll take
No,
UConn minus the 9.5.
I have UConn in my Final Four.
Well, then you just told me they're going to watch out for the Gales.
I said watch out for them.
You just told me they're going to lose.
Just watch them play.
Just watch out. That's all I said.
I'll watch them, man. I'll watch the Gales. We're back at it tomorrow on Cody and Gold, 10 to 2. The Drive coming up next.
To the end zone. Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.